Welcome back to Idle Talk. Welcome to. This is episode 8. Episode
Ocho.
8, number
Hello,
8
hello.
of Idle Talk. It's been a minute. How are you?
I'm great.
Who are you?
Fabian.
This lit up, the mouse lit up, and I thought it was my phone, and I glanced over to look at it.
I just
But
cool gamer.
we've got a whole different setup going. I've got my laptop in front of me. I want to at least show you a few things.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the TV connected. You can see. I got you a timer,
I
a visual,
I
so you can see
my
the
recording.
time.
That's
Yeah,
actually
exactly.
really
I'm the top. You're the bottom.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
See.
Oh, your lines are way thicker than mine.
Exactly. 'Cause I'm talking more closer to mine,
Mm.
at a little bit higher volume. So let me lower myself. real
No, you
quick.
good, dog.
So
It's better for me. I'm not the one yelling all the
before we jump into too many things,
time.
we need to catch up on The Last of Us. And
Oh,
I
we
don't
starting
want to.
there?
I don't
Okay,
want to
okay.
spend too much time on this on The Last of Us.
okay.
We're just gonna go 7, 8, 9, right?
Boom.
Boom. So
Okay.
episode 7 was Left Behind,
Yes.
or
Yeah,
was
DLC.
it? Or was it
Yeah, yeah.
episode 8? Okay. So episode 7 DLC. What'd you like about it? What didn't you like?
I think I talk about it in a minute. I liked everything about it. The only thing I would complain about is that there wasn't enough zombies.
Mm.
And I think the showrunners have now said that season 2 will have a lot more zombies. They just didn't
Yeah.
have the budget to keep.
Did they
putting
actually say
zombies.
that?
Yeah.
Was it on the
So-
podcast that they do on that?
So season 2 will have a lot more now that they have.
Did they tell you how much each episode costs?
Nope. I just said it was expensive.
What I'm thinking is like in the millions, like $1 million at least per
Probably.
episode.
They did tell you how much the suit for the bloater was. But
Really?
They only used it once.
How much was
It was
that?
5 million.
$5 million for that suit?
Yeah, but they only used it once. They should have kept. They
Bro,
could
I
have
would
kept
put
using
mad
the same,
bloaters
Yeah,
everywhere.
they could have kept using the same suit. but they
Boom,
didn't.
boom, boom.
So for that episode, I think very well. I think it deserved more zombies because it was more
But
like
they had more zombies in the actual DLC
yeah,
and
in the
stuff.
DLC it felt more like oh shit, like you're running away from
Yeah.
zombies. They missed out on the water fight or the water pistol scene. That scene was really good. I wish they added that.
They put a little Easter egg about it though. What is it? A water pistol?
Yeah, or a
and
water gun.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my review / whatever for 7.
For me, I don't know. I watched it twice because I've watched it when it came out, and then my sister got back from Mexico, and so I watched it again. So I paid a little bit more attention this time. I don't have any takeaways. So I
perfectly fine
watched
episode?
it. I watched it once.
And you're like
Didn't
I'm
repay no
entertained.
mind.
That's it.
I wasn't entertained, but I wasn't not entertained. You know.
Mm.
And the second time I watched it, and I was
Paying
on
more
purpose
attention.
paying more attention.
Yeah.
I still don't remember
Damn.
what
I remember.
what happened. Like really, I know what
And
happened
it's
because
been
I
a few
played
weeks
it,
since I've
but
watched it. And
but I
played it.
watched it yesterday
Mm.
or on Sunday. I
And
watched
you
it on
still don't
Sunday
remember?
and I
That's
don't
crazy.
remember. So I don't know.
I like the actress who played Riley. I think she's very good.
I think she was too tall.
But
It threw
I
off
guess
the
yeah,
whole
in the game
thing.
they're not that tall.
They're not that
do
tall, and they're closer to age because she
Mm.
was like, I turned 17 tomorrow, and I'm like, Ellie's like what, 14 or something, 13 or whatever. It felt
I
a
don't
little.
know.
It felt a little weird, you know, that
I
age
don't know
gap.
the ages. They might have changed the ages for the show for the actors because it wouldn't be believable otherwise.
That she
but-
was 14, but Bella Ramsey looks like
Well,
her,
Bella
the,
Ramsey's-
the age that she's supposed to be
Well,
playing.
Bella Ramsey is 1920 currently.
Yeah.
And she does look like she's
Yeah.
14. So, yeah, I enjoyed the actress who played her. I enjoyed their cute little moments together, like all the little wonders of the mall. I enjoyed the little
5 wonders.
Yeah, the little wonder with.
That's
the,
what I took away the most. It was like she was
the
like, well,
escalator one.
yeah,
That's
she was
really
like, well,
cute.
I guess it's 5 now.
Yeah, it was really cute.
If you-
I did like their dynamic. I liked their chemistry.
You know what I liked the
Just-
most was the one zombie they had. Bro, Satan himself was there, bro. That it looked like the most like remember you said satanic? The most satanic ass like a zombie that they had. It looked like a Darth Maul clone, but
Yeah.
like more.
The zombie was scary, but I wish there was more of them.
Yeah.
In the game, it feels way more like
No,
oh,
because they're running from an actual herd in the game.
yeah, and it makes sense that one of them would get grabbed and bit. It's
Yeah.
like okay, or
Both of them got
both
them,
of them,
yeah.
right? So it's more believable when there's a lot more. You're like, okay, one of them could have, but
But
the
that
same
design
zombie,
of that one zombie was sick.
It
though.
was, but
That's what I.
one
That's what I
zombie
liked
got
the
both
most.
of them. It bit both.
Yeah, I
of
mean,
them.
it was jumping. Both of them was fighting, and that's back when they were stabbing it still in the body and not in the head. I noticed that.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot
Yeah.
in this show that they stab a lot of the zombies
In the body.
even though they've been alive and
Even-
around for long enough to know that.
And
the brain
Ellie
is what
went to.
kills
They
it.
both went to Federal
Yeah,
School.
they should know that it.
And
dies.
Riley went to Firefly University, quote unquote. But
Yeah, and then she was missing or she was shooting it in the body.
Yeah,
right?
I was like, are you just not good at this? Like fighting? Is that?
I guess
is that
yeah.
it?
I guess it would be. I should do some damage and get hits on the body instead of trying to go for the head and then not hit anything, and then you're out of bullets and you're like, damn.
Yeah.
So maybe
we just fast forward to episode 8. That was the most anticipated episode of all time.
David
the cannibal episode.
Yeah, that episode was great.
So
I remember a lot.
In the game,
yeah,
you again lacking zombies, as you said. In the game, you kind of
fight
form a
zombies
bond
with
David, and you kind of feel like, oh wait, maybe this is like a good guy.
Yeah, before
like,
he gets like
creepy and rapey and stuff.
I guess there's kind of that scene where like they're getting along during the campfire.
But in the game, you kind of sort of build this false sense of camaraderie because we're fighting together side by side.
He saves your life twice in the game. Oh, saves Ellie's life because you're playing as Ellie, and when you meet him, you're like, oh, like this guy's cool. He helps out. He has a group.
Like Joel in general,
he seems like
the whole game doesn't trust anybody. When it's your turn as Ellie, we've
progressed. Well, no, and the whole game,
we've progressed so far with Ellie, and we're like, all right, maybe we should take into consideration some of Joel's things. Like, maybe let's not trust David, and then we fight these zombies in 2 different like little locations of the map or whatever, and then we're like, all right, this guy might not be that bad of a guy, and then boom, hits us with a whole 180 turn. Like I knew it.
What did you think about now that we're talking about this episode? What did you think about the guy who plays James, his like second in command? That's Joel.
Yeah. I know.
What did you think about his acting?
It's good. Yeah. The thing is, I didn't expect him to look like that in real life.
You've never seen him?
I've seen him, but he just looked like
a white man.
The way they did him is just like he definitely looks like he would be the cannibal second in command. Like
they did right.
Like so, I can't. There's always villains, and they have like a minion or like a henchman.
Yeah.
He looked so far. He looked right. He looked just like a henchman. Like I'm talking like in other forms of media, right? Yeah. There's always like a henchman, and he just looked exactly like how a henchman would look. And I don't know. It kind of like I was like, whoa, this is. He doesn't
look like the guy in the
surreal.
The henchman in the game. That's named James.
I didn't really notice
He looks nothing like that dude.
Yeah, but does it matter?
No, no one cares about that.
I think it was just they wanted to get every important character, quote unquote.
Yeah, I think they wanted to get all.
And so they got the girl you said a few episodes ago, the same girl who plays Marlene, who voiced her is the actress, right? Yeah. So boom, that's the first one. Yeah. And then we get Tommy in earlier episodes as Percy, and then we get Joel as James. So Troy Baker as James, and then we get. Finally, Ashley Johnson as Ellie's mom in the next episode. But before we get into the last season finale episode, Cannibal episode, I thought it was really good. I thought it was one of the better episodes where I think I would put it either above or right below episode 3, which was Bill and Frank.
I would put it right below, but I think
Bill and Frank's episode is still very, very good. Compared to everything else, I think episode 1 now for me moves to the 3rd slot.
I don't know if I could rank them like top of my head currently. I would have to like sit down, make a list, and give you a reason. But I thought great episode. I think that episode specifically really tested the Bella Ramsey, the girl who plays Ellie's acting chops, and she did wonderful. Because I like every time you see her, she's always with Pedro Pascal, and you're like
somebody,
and they work very well together, right? And you're like, wow, she's a good actress. But I was like. It's gonna be hit or miss now. Is if she can carry an episode mostly by herself, because if you don't know, in part 2 you mostly follow Ellie, like that is the main character. So if she couldn't,
her story now,
if she couldn't run an episode, I didn't think there would be a hope for season 2 if they didn't change her.
Yeah.
So seeing her literally act most of the episode by herself and like with someone who's brand new character like David, I think she did fantastic. Absolutely. If I could change anything of the episode, again, add more infected maybe.
But at that one, the only point is the beginning part. After that, we don't really get infected. Yeah, when they bond.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that I would have added if I had to. Otherwise,
they hang out. And he immediately says, I believe there's no such thing as a coincidence, and he plays his cards way too early,
which is in the game,
it's more
until after
more
the
creepy
fight.
and impactful. You're like, you're like, oh, maybe he could help us, maybe. And then he's like,
they also made it very explicit about him wanting to rape her in the show. Like in the game, it is very heavily implied. And then when Joel saves her, she even says, "Oh, he tried to," and then he cuts her off and is like, "Oh, it's okay, baby girl." So, and in this, he's more like on her, and he's like, "Oh, I like when they fight." Like, "Oh, so you do rape people? Like you're like, this is normal for you. Like this isn't even."
He's like, my favorite part. My favorite part is the fight.
It's like in the game, it's like, oh, maybe he's just evil, and this is the first time he's raping somebody.
In the game, does he tell us his past too? I think he does, right? No. So
we don't get anything about him being a pastor or being a teacher.
This is what's the difference part. You bring up the teacher, where he's like,
he was a teacher, which means he was probably fucking his kids.
He tells, I don't think so, because he says this line. He's telling him like, oh, I used to be a teacher, now I'm a preacher, and then she's like, well, did you change because it fucking rhymed? And they start laughing, right? Yeah. And then when Ellie's in the prison cell, he's like, I recognize you because you have a violent heart. And I have a violent heart too, and I've been hiding it, and I've been trying to keep it under control or whatever. So that insinuates to me that as a school teacher, he probably wanted to do those things, or if not explicitly do it. But to me, I think it's more like he wanted to, or he was like trying to, or planning to.
I agree with you.
And then the zombie apocalypse happens, and then he's like, so I'm thinking after that, after like the zombie, he's like, protection, I'm the group leader, I get what I want, because I noticed when they were eating in the dining hall, he got the biggest plate with the most food, and nobody said anything about it. So I think it's just like,
and also when he hit somebody, they all just watched.
They all just like let it happen and bow down. So I think it's like when Ellie says, "What do you have, a cult?" And he's like, "Oh, kind of." I think he like literally is a cult.
I think
a cult personality, like has a following no matter who he talks to or what he does.
Which is more diabolical in the show, because in the game he isn't like political at all. Yeah. Sorry, not political. Religious, right? He is just charismatic,
just a leader. A true cult of personality.
Yeah, he's just charismatic, and people trust him, and he's actually like a very good survivor. Like when you see him in the game, he's killing zombies. He kills 2 bloaters with you in the game. Yeah, so he's obviously very capable in the game. In the show, I guess because they didn't add that, they had to give him, which I don't mind. I mean, the preacher thing is whatever. Even that wasn't actually true. Like, it's more devious because when he explains to her, like, "Oh no, this is bullshit. Yeah. I just knew that this is what would control them." Yeah, he knew
I like the cordyceps.
Yeah, he's like, he knew that the religion would give him the power, so he uses it. So that's a cool change. The only thing I would change, other than what I said previously about the infected, is that when she is like killing him per se, like chopping him up. In the game, Joel comes in and then like pulls her off
after like she already killed them, but like in the moment,
and then she cries, and then she's like, "Oh, he tried to," and then it's more like of a bonding moment. Like he came to protect her, even though he didn't get there on time. Like he was there for her, and in this one, it lets her get
pretty late. Yeah,
it lets her completely get the kill, walk
processes it by herself, technically.
Walk out, and then get like held by him and get scared. When in the game, it felt more like natural, like it just happened, and she's like freaking out because he just touched her, and like you're like, oh, it makes sense that she would freak out because it might. But after she's already walked out and like is in the snow, I guess technically you could get scared that one of his dudes might grab you. So yeah, those are the only 2 things that I'd feel like should have been more true to the game. But other than that,
I didn't mind that. I think it was perfect.
I don't think it was perfect, but I do think it was a great episode.
Because I think we take that moment and we plant that seed of
that
like
she can get there.
That she's a violent fucking person.
Yeah.
And we see that in the second game where she outright does really violent things. And I think this is just our little like planting the seeds moment. Right, I think this is what helps sprout who she will eventually become, and how they bring us to that eventual point is up to them, and how they make the story and write the story. But it's just, I think it was very true to her underdeveloping arc, how she's been shown and portrayed to us as viewers of this show. Yeah. So now we skip to episode 9, the season finale.
I got some words for the season.
Okay, so let me tell you this: the episode was about 45 minutes long.
Not long enough.
And the general just consensus, what I feel like, has been that the finale feels rushed, not enough time, And I think it just can be summarized this whole season as they was rushed and there was not enough time for things to develop, as they did in a 20+ hour video game or a 15+ hour video game.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I feel like the beginning part that connects Ashley Johnson's Ellie to the show Ellie.
That's amazing.
I didn't need that.
Oh, I loved it.
I didn't want to see the reason why Ellie's immune.
I guess for me, it's more nostalgia because I get to see actual Ellie in the show.
Yeah, I think she sounded way too close to.
Well, her natural voice
is her
Ellie.
natural voice Ellie?
Yeah,
then she's a bad
natural
voice.
Her natural voice is Ellie.
But I was like, oh my god, she literally sounds like it's like so
in part
crazy.
2, no, I think part 1 she makes her voice higher pitch because she's a little girl, and then in part 2 it is just her natural voice. So that's why if you played 2 more than 1, it's very like uncanny.
I was like,
when you hear her speak, you're like, oh, that's literally Ellie's voice. Yeah, it was. But I get why you're like it's unnecessary. It really is. The most you get from that scene is like
the passing of the knife. I like that. Yeah. That's the best part that come out of.
But we
episode.
Already knew that because every time the knife was brought up, it was like, oh, she got it from her mom.
But I liked just seeing it. You know, I like seeing that moment. And my biggest gripe of that scene was where Marlene, she's like, cover the baby's ears, and then she shoots the gun, and he did not cover her ears.
Not only did they not cover her ears, they shot the gun when the baby is literally like a foot away.
Yeah. And so
let him walk out of the house.
Where's Ellie? Ellie's deaf.
Yeah, 100% deaf.
Just
that baby was just born, and you shot a gun like literally a foot away from.
Literally, bro.
Didn't cover her. Yeah, that baby's deaf. But yeah, he should have walked outside, walked a little bit, and then she should have shot.
Bro was still in the door frame. And he was like, boom.
Because I thought when she was like, "Yo, cover the baby's ear," he'd walk away, and then, but she was quick. She walked in that room, bow.
I was like,
shot her mad fast.
I was like, kill that guy, fucking idiot, like useless.
But no, yeah,
he looked like a kid scared though.
I did really like that scene with her. I think it was really cool seeing Ellie, birth Ellie. So it was cool with that, and then seeing how the parallel between her two parental figures, I would say, lying to keep her alive. Who would be the second
parental figure?
Joel.
Who's the first?
Her mom. I guess that's what I'm saying. Like it's her real parent, but she didn't live with her, so I guess it wouldn't be her parent. Yeah. But yeah, it was a lie. She said that the baby umbilical cord was cut when she was bit, which was a lie. Oh. She absolutely was bit before the baby was born. But it shows
so you think she was bit before she even entered the house, or she got like when she was attacked?
When she was attacked, she was bit, and then she had the baby. Which is weird to me how a baby just pops out and you wouldn't notice.
No, that's the most believable part for me, because it's like
people give birth without noticing.
No, not even that. Sometimes people shit out babies, like when they're pushing too hard, thinking they're constipated, they just poop out a baby, or not poop, but like push out your private part. Yeah. But I think like just the fighting and restraining was just enough force to just plop out the baby. That's the most realistic part to me of that scene. Okay. It's like you fight enough and you're just like pushing and shoving and like holding strength. You're just contracting every muscle. It just pops out.
Yeah, I like that parallel between her and Joel about the fact that they lied to keep her alive, or the fact that they would lie for someone they love, right? That it meant more, because if you think about it, what was the mom's name? Anna?
Anna, yeah.
Anna didn't know that Ellie would be immune, right? She lied about it. She just wanted her daughter to be alive. Yeah. But God forbid that baby was infected and then turned
as a baby toddler.
Imagine a baby clicker running around.
Yeah, I was gonna say that would suck so bad.
Trying to hit that thing, because that one kid one was
if it's a toddler, do you think it would be able to have? I mean, I guess it loses function, right? It loses its bodily function, so it probably would be able to move and shit because the cordyceps controls it,
right? That's crazy. I guess it wouldn't be able to like go crazy because it doesn't have muscles.
It would just run.
Yeah.
Or crawl.
But yeah, I don't know. So yeah, and that, so I do think she was lying, and I do think that it was for a reason. I don't think she wanted her to shoot her and her baby, even though it might not have been the safest choice, you know? Yeah. And yeah, I thought that scene was great.
The craziest part for me was that Marlene and Anna have been friends since
which is crazy that they expanded on that. Yeah. No, it's always like, even in the first game, if you replay it, she says that she knows Ellie's mom and that they were friends, but you don't ever really see their relationship, right? It literally is just hearsay. And I think in the comic book that develops Riley and Ellie's relationship, she speaks about her being like childhood friends with him and them joining or making the Fireflies together or joining the Fireflies together. But we never really see them interact. This is the first time canonically we see them interact because we never really ever got to see Ellie's mom, period, whether that be pictures, drawings. We never get to see her. This is the first time we see her. So yeah, which is insane. It gives Marlene another character arc when she says, like, in the next episode, like, listen, you don't understand how hard it is for me. Like, imagine growing up with me your whole life, and then the apocalypse happens, I die, but my daughter stays, and you have to raise her. And then at one point, you have to decide, oh, is it worth killing my best friend's kid to save the world? It's obviously a very hard decision for her.
I'm Team Joel.
Yeah, I agree with you. I am Team Joel, but I can see why that choice would be very hard, and that's why when she does speak to her, she's like, "You're the only one that would understand that losing someone who's really close."
She's to like, you "I'm the only one that would understand."
Right? Like,
and probably even more than Joel.
Like, I get it. Like, it would suck, but hey, we're trying to be better for mankind. He's like, nah. Fuck mankind.
Is a father's love stronger than a mother's love? Because now let's think about it as this. Ellie's birth mother's dead, who was best friends with Marlene, is now Marlene her mother figure, even if it's from afar. Even if she's like, put it over there, do it over there.
She
like,
could have.
She still has that love for her friend.
Yeah.
And now she's like probably like, maybe there's like bits and parts of Ellie's early childhood stories where she's like,
we haven't seen.
That she's maybe. like putting her in the right federal school, or like making sure she's got the right shit, you know, like
that. Marlene then took her and then put her in a federal school where she would be like raised,
taken care of.
But technically, you're right. She could have raised her. She raised
Riley.
Yeah, I mean, not raised her, but she did have kids in the Fireflies. She could have.
Riley's not her kid though, right? Or is she? Or do we know?
No. Riley's parents died during Outbreak Day.
Yeah.
So she could have technically raised Ellie because
she could have.
Everything that Ellie learned in Fedra school, she could have learned with the Fireflies. It wouldn't have been any different or any more efficient.
Because they were on their way to Boston anyway, so they put her in the Fedra school just so
I think it's just because she didn't want to raise a kid, especially her friend's kid. Like, imagine fucking up and then getting your friend's kid killed. Yeah.
And that's probably the safest thing she could have done for Ellie.
So.
And then she ends up being the main focal point of, like, this mission. Like,
so that was the beginning of the finale, right? So it starts off with all that scene with Anna running into the barn. Is it a barn? What the fuck is it?
Which runs like it's a house, but it runs like for like 18 minutes. So out of this 45-minute episode, we've already used up like 18 minutes.
They shouldn't have made it so short, dude. Because then we rushed through the end,
and then we had like a 10-minute documentary at the end. So we had, let's say maybe like now we have like 32-ish minutes of present day Joel and Ellie. And then from when we get out of that time, the rewind, the past, what's that, time jump? We jump back to the present, and from the present all the way until we get flashbanged, it's like another 11 minutes.
Also didn't like that
12
change
minutes.
The flashbang change.
My sister's quote unquote reaction to, like, they took out the best part when Ellie falls in a bus and starts drowning.
Yeah,
that was the best part for her. She's like, I can't believe they didn't use that part.
Yeah, why didn't they?
I think it might, again, when you talk about the episodes being too expensive, and it might be like just having a tank, like Harry Potter when they had. I heard who's the main actor?
Daniel Radcliffe.
He was talking about how like fucking like when there was a water scene and he had to fucking keep dunking into that, like how it was physically taxing for him because the takes weren't coming out good because they were literally in a big shit of water. And it's probably expensive as fuck, and it's probably the just rules and general regulations.
No, trust. I don't take points away. I'm just saying, like, I would never be like, this show is bad because it didn't do it correctly.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is I would have preferred
the water scene in one way or another.
Because throughout the whole show, they never even mentioned the fact that Ellie can't swim. Or the fact that she doesn't, like, she's afraid of water.
It's the best part. It's like,
and all of the first game, she's like, I won't get in the water. Put me on a pallet.
And you got to do like a puzzle and shit. You got to like grab a pallet and swim and like push her.
Which is crazy because they added the ladder moment, which is in the later of the game, right? Where like Ellie gets excited by the giraffe and drops the ladder. They add that little gameplay moment, but they won't add the water and they won't add the fact that she can't swim in it.
Was mad funny because in the game you can program the ladder to fall the right way. In real life, you just drop the ladder and then hope Pedro Pascal doesn't.
It almost fucked him up. He was like, whoa, and like almost got hit by it. And I was like, damn, Ellie.
Literally, like it reminds me on the set of Prison Break, where you know how the two brothers are also in
the Flash,
Legend of Tomorrow and Flash. So McRory's actor, I'm blanking on his name, but
the fire guy.
Yeah. But he on Prison Break, a big piece of metal fell and busted his whole face.
Oof.
And just imagine that, but the ladder on Joel, like, and he didn't sue. He was like, guys, I'm good. This is part of the craft. Like, I love the network. I love working with you guys. If you guys were shitty bosses and a shitty entity, I would get my money. But like, I love working here. I believe in the product. Sure, accidents happen, whatever. But it reminds me of like when Harrison Ford crashed his plane too. He was like, broke my legs, can't do shit. Like,
or when Luke got in a car accident.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh shit, I didn't know.
And then they had to do that whole Wampa scene.
Oh,
and
makes sense.
They made the Wampa smack him in the face.
Yeah,
and then he had like facial reconstruction surgery. Because he literally got in a car accident.
That's fucking crazy.
And they had to fix his face.
That's why his face was makes a lot of sense. But besides Joel, almost really real life, almost getting fucking smacked by a ladder.
They go to the tower.
I want to talk about the giraffe scene.
Yeah.
People believe that the giraffe was CGI.
It's a real giraffe.
But the behind the scenes clip, it was blue screen and the giraffe was real.
Yeah.
And then people were like, "Oh, look at this bad CGI." And that's all the proof in the
I
pudding.
can't stand that.
Where people don't know. Yeah, people can't tell what CGI
with the
is.
bloater. They were like, "Yo, this bloater is the worst CGI I've ever seen." Like when he was crawling out of the pit. Like, and then they show the behind the scenes. It's a dude in a suit climbing out of the thing.
Yeah.
And you're like, listen, if you out here talking about this is bad CGI, you
don't know what bad CGI is.
Because if something was made practically and it's so good that you believe it's CGI, you gotta give props to the people who are making that type of shit. I guess a giraffe, you don't give props to a giraffe. It's just existing. But the suit, that takes a lot of work.
No, but the giraffe a real giraffe could have just been like, I don't want to bite this leaf.
Obviously it's a trained giraffe.
I know, but I'm saying, but the fact that they've got it trained enough, and it's like perfect, it looks like the most like natural shit ever.
I love that scene though. That
beautiful
scene was really good.
What I hated was after Ellie jumps the ladder, she's like, "Oh my god, what's that?" And she runs, and then we follow her. We follow her as Joel, right? So he climbs up eventually, and then he runs, takes like a left, goes up some stairs, takes like another left, and then finally meets Ellie. I'm like, Ellie, how the fuck did you see that giraffe? I was like, what? Why the fuck would you show us all this spinny shit and be like?
I mean, giraffes are tall.
This is my explanation to my sister because she was absolutely hated that part. I was like, what if the giraffe was like lowering his head and she caught him as he was like raising his head to where they finally meet him?
Yeah. Or walking past, you would see the neck of a giraffe.
No, because it was fucking mad dark in there. There was like no sunlight coming in through.
They were literally like
as he was running through, following Joel. There was no fucking sunlight. Everything was like covered or red.
When she was climbing, there was.
But that was from the fucking roof, Fabian. The giraffe was gonna like put his whole neck through the top, like hey, and then he's leave, and she's like, oh my god, and then catches him on the right time.
Just walk past.
No, there's no way he could have seen her.
Giraffe, and they run at it
until the big fucking opening where.
Yeah, I agree.
Now when Joel was walking out, it's like sunlight is coming.
They made him run way too far. They should have made him run like to the left a little bit and then found the room
up some stairs.
Yeah,
or some shit,
but I get it. You could. When I see a cat,
my saving grace was like maybe the giraffe bent down and Ellie caught it as I was going back up to eat or something like that. I don't know. That's how I tried to explain it to my sister. I was like, don't think about that shit too much because that shit will end up bothering you. Like,
it's just supposed to be a nice scene.
Like, oh, cute. And we get some nice dialogue. Exactly how the game had it. It was beautiful dialogue.
And then after that scene is the flashback scene.
Yeah,
that shit sucked. That's like the worst way to go. I feel like it's. I notice it because I watch a lot of TV shows where the main character gets bitched, and they do it for like because they have to bring the character to a certain point, and they're like, well, we've written this character to be way too good at everything, so we have to do something to catch him off guard, and it sucks because as someone who literally just went through the most craziest journey of your life. Yeah, just walking like that in a city, knowing damn well there's like Fedra. This is what I'm saying. There should be more infected in the world. They're walking around way too because there's nothing.
There's no danger. There's no like in the game you had to
always something
when you had to walk somewhere. You had to be like crouch walk so you can.
There's always something trying to kill you.
Joe had the strongest calves in the world, bro. Like,
and in this show, they just be walking around freely, nothing's happening, and then just get a flashback thrown at them instead of kicking it or anything. Just like,
it was too late because it fell, and then they were looking. In
they like turn and it blows.
Turn
right?
and they're like, oh fuck. and then it just blows.
Yeah.
But my biggest gripe is before we get into the like, what was the right decision?
Yeah.
What could have been the correct thing to do? Who the fuck just flashbangs a guy and a girl?
Yeah.
Like, you don't know who they are.
Exactly.
First they flashbang.
And then it turns out Marlene's like, oh, my guys are dumb.
They
That's
didn't know.
my bad.
Sorry,
yeah.
my bad. So right there.
So God forbid they fucking get just like blind forever because someone decided to just flashbang friendlies.
The mentality of the Fireflies already. Just think about that.
They're dumb. Yeah.
Not morally good people.
No.
Not even if they're fighting for the right side.
I mean, even in the game, they're always portrayed as like they are fighting for the right side, but they're very much terrorists, just like Fedra is. Like if they got power, they would be just as bad. Yeah.
But and then we get that Marlene scene. He's talking to Joel.
Yeah, in the bed.
Talking to him as if
trying to convince him to be okay with the surgery, which he isn't.
And then we didn't get the same scenes as we got in the game.
In what sense?
And as Joel's rampage begins, I feel like we killed a lot of people in the hospital.
In the hospital. In the game, it's a lot harder. Yeah.
And but the thing that made that sequence anxiety filled, and this comes from my sister. She's like, I remember watching you. I'm watching you play it. I remember the red and white, the red and white lights and the sirens, the alarms, like that made it unnecessarily like over the top. Like, but she was like, I was so scared I wasn't even playing. It was like it was ringing in the game. Like it didn't pop up in the show.
I don't think that was part of part one.
That was.
The original one that I played didn't have that.
It might have been when they remade it. Yeah.
But the second one.
Because I definitely played it on PS4.
Because I know in the second one, when you flash back to that scene, it has all that shit. It has the flashing lights. The character models are changed because they're important now.
Important to the story.
Yeah, but when I originally played it, and it was just a dark hallway with mad people.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like the TV show, right?
And then the flashlight was important because it was like dark as fuck.
So
I played the remake.
The remake probably what it is. Yeah.
And I agree with her. Like that was.
It does make it way more. It's like it makes it more intense. You're like, oh damn.
I'm like so anxious. I'm like for no reason.
Firefly's more legit because in the original, it made it seem like the Firefly were just like
that was their HQ.
Some rinkety dink ass like terrorist group that don't have actual
like resources and like
But then in the second game, when you play as a Firefly, we change it. You're like, oh, these motherfuckers got stuff. Like they got facilities everywhere. They got the supplies. They could have done what they were saying. And then in the flashback scene, you see all the lights, the alarm, the good equipment. They're in like they're all like surgical and they're all sanitary. In the first game, it wasn't like that. It literally was like a bungee ass, like a dungy ass like hospital.
So when we talk about this is what I hate about what you told me about the creator who said that no, it's a guarantee that it was gonna work.
In his world.
In that fucking first game,
it
no
seemed
fucking
like
way.
Yeah, I agree. I agree
with
a lot of people with that. I don't think he planned it for it to be 100%.
And then he changed it and
be
like, hey, look,
it
could do it.
Yeah, I think when he was starting to write part 2, he knew that if he wanted the two main characters to have some sort of conflict for him lying, it wouldn't have mattered if it was like, oh, they wouldn't have made a cure anyway. She would have been like, oh, you're right. Right? And then they would be good. But because he wanted to make a reason for Ellie to like hate Joel in the beginning of the game, or not hate him, but like be angry at him, right? Because most people
for the thing he decides,
for what he just did, right, would be like,
which we'll get there in a couple seconds.
So yeah, I do agree that he had to have went back and changed it later.
Annoying, but Joel goes on his rampage because Marlene tells him that they're prepping Ellie for surgery that Ellie will not live through. Ellie will die.
It's something that I wish they would go into more, because even Neil Druckmann, the guy who made it, doesn't. He just says, "Oh no, it would have worked."
To me,
he says that in his world they would have made the vaccine. They would have.
I don't think it's.
But I feel like it's so unbelievable.
Vaccine and cure are two different things.
It seems way too unbelievable.
A cure means that they would be able to reverse any infected that there is currently. I think it would have been more of a vaccine. I think eventually later on it specifies it as a vaccine instead. And to me, I think a vaccine is useless here because, and I'll tell you why. Ellie in the game and in when we play as her still has to sneak around through infected, still has to like not get attacked, because when you get attacked, you're lucky to walk away from a bite. Most of the time, you're gonna get mauled to shreds. Yeah. So what I would have liked to see was if you like, as Ellie is the only one who's immune, that she could have just walked through the shit as we saw her in the TV show. Which is weird
because in the TV show, Marlene explains that the brain tells the other cordyceps that this one's infected, so they leave her alone. When clearly that's not true.
Exactly. When even before she was bit,
because they attack her, they go for her.
Exactly.
It's not like because you know how in the third episode, I think when Tess dies and it like patiently walks to her and kisses her.
The second episode and the second one, yeah.
That's how they should be with Ellie.
With Ellie, exactly. She like is infected.
Yeah. But even though she explains it like that, Marlene is like, "This is how it works."
That's not how it works.
It's not because she does get chased. She does get attacked, and even though they know it makes no sense.
Even
it should be
when
like
they were sneaking through it, like they were like when they finally got caught in the second episode when Tess gets bit, like Ellie's still running away from them.
She's running away from them. She's running away with them with Tess. That's why she gets bit, and they're like, "Oh, no, she's not infected."
That was the biggest.
It makes no sense,
issue.
right? Like, but in the game, it doesn't say that. It just says that.
In the game, it's vague, and it's for a good reason. Because now that we specified it, it didn't make any fucking sense.
Because now that you specified it, now we're questioning it. They shouldn't have done that. They should have just left it as, no, we could have made the cure, and that's it. Or we could have made a vaccine.
Of be like, hey, I was fortunate enough to only get bit. I'm not going to try or whatever. But even
if that's the case.
That's not even, what's the life worth living then?
Yeah. So if I could change something else for that episode, it'd be that. I don't think they should have given you that explanation when it's very clearly that's not how it works, when you already broke the rules of the only rule you just made. Like, you should have rewatched the episodes that you just made to be like, oh, we can't make that rule when we literally had her attacked by every cordyceps fucking thing that came at her. Literally, there was a whole field of them chasing her, and Joe was sniping them. That point, they should have made a point of her just being able to walk past the group and be like, nah, she's cool, and then explained it later on why. But now,
I don't think, and now that we specified like what the vaccine or cure would be, if it doesn't give you that kind of immunity shield, or it doesn't like reverse things,
what's the point?
It's not worth it.
I guess the only benefit of a vaccine like that would be like, oh, I just got bit, I got to run to the safe zone and get a vaccine before I turn. Right, that's it. What else would be the use of it? You would still have to fight them. You would still get mauled by them. They would still come for you.
It would still hurt like shit, like because you got fucking bit. And to me, we brought up the flashbang scene. Yeah. And I think it's an important scene because of the morals of the Fireflies. Like, they saw a man and a daughter. Sure, they got like a gun on him. He got like a rifle on his back. I mean, in this world, who wouldn't have a gun or something to protect themselves at least? They flashbang him, knock him out. I don't think there's a guarantee that they would share it with everybody else.
No, I think they would monetize it. They would be like, oh, you can only get it if you're not in Fedra, if you do this for us. I think they would just become another. I agree with you.
I think the more they're not altruistic enough, and their morals aren't good enough to be like, wow, you fucked us over from sharing this vaccine with everybody. Like,
and it's even worse when you with the point you're making, right? It's even worse when you do play part 2, or when they do make the show of part 2. You see how angry they do get about what Joel did, and they go for revenge. So they are very flawed human beings. They aren't altruistic, like you said. They're like, oh, we just want to make the world a better. They're not those people.
They're like, we want to make.
They are just another group of survivors. Yeah, they are just another group of survivors that are selfish.
Most altruistic group we've seen. Yeah, and I'll give Tommy's girlfriend, what's her name?
Diane. What was her name?
Mary or something. I don't know.
It was Mary?
I don't know. I remember, but that's probably the most altruistic group that I've seen in this.
Yeah, it is
in this world. Just even in the TV world and the game world.
There was a point that I wanted to make during the David episode that I completely and you just reminded me. When you say it's kind of shitty or dumb that you would trust him, I would say no. If you look at
trust who,
David. Right, in the game you're like, oh, in the show, because in the game you're like, oh, well, we do a bunch of shit together. So
I don't even think she trusts him to begin because she still has the gun in her hand. Like,
yeah, but you can tell when she laughs off edge, and then she drops the gun.
In the beginning, she's on edge, and then I feel like a little bit after they talk.
The point of what I'm saying is like the only reason I believed that type of shit when it came to Ellie, right, is because anytime you saw her previously meet people, they were all good to her, besides Kathleen, but she didn't really meet her. Right?
She just wanted her dad too.
Bill and Frank helped them. Tess helped her. Hank and Sam, what are their names?
Yeah.
Henry and Sam. They were nice and helped her. Tommy and
she actually got to know Henry and Sam more than she got to know Tess, and didn't even see who Bill and Frank was.
So, and then she meets Tommy and his wife and their kids and their community. So every person she's met outside of Fedra have been good people, right? And so
the couple in the cabin,
they were good people too, right?
Fed them. He's like, you fed them? It's like, yeah, they were here a while.
Exactly. So it was believable to me in the TV show when she was like letting her guard down. I'm like, it makes sense, right? Because every person she's met, they haven't been shitty people. But now that that's happened to her, I need her to be more on guard. I need her to be like, I don't really trust you.
Learn this lesson the hard way.
Yeah, because that's traumatic. Going through what you went through, and then not only almost being killed and eaten alive, almost being like sexually assaulted, a lot of shit that she had to go through completely alone, right? And if she doesn't learn from that later down the line, like if they don't take that into account when they write season 2, I'm going to be a little annoyed.
I mean, we see parts of it in the beginning of the season finale where after the flashback where they're walking towards the flashbang scene and she's like not paying attention. She's like in her thoughts. Like,
but I thought that because in the game it does that because you're getting closer to the base and she's getting sadder because she's like, oh, I won't be with you anymore.
Yeah. But I think in the TV show, it's a direct result of what just happened.
It looks like, oh, she's still sad about almost dying. Right?
Not even sad. She's just more traumatized.
Yeah, right? Because it's literally... But if they gave you an episode in between where we could see her, like, handling and learning... But we don't. We just jump to the end, which sucks. I wish the show was longer. I wish they developed more. And, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess you go into the season knowing it's going to be an expensive show, and I don't know how HBO doesn't just shell out the rest of the money. Like...
I think it's because every video game property before that did bad. Name one video game property that has done well on TV or movie.
I couldn't give you the answer.
Exactly.
Sonic?
No, it didn't do well.
Sonic is good.
I agree. It is good. It's a good film. 1 and 2 made me laugh. Great kids films. But they didn't do financially as much as
I mean, Uncharted, the movie did shit. It was terrible. Tomb Raider did bad.
Assassin's Creed did terribly.
I didn't even know there was an Assassin's Creed movie or show. Halo did terribly.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
But I think now, like they said in the podcast, right?
I didn't listen to it. Don't spoil the podcast.
I'm not gonna spoil anything. What I'm saying is, since the ending of the show, they've been like, we are lit for season 2. Yes, we have a bigger budget. Yes, we'll have more infected. Right. So now that they have the confident, like I feel like HBO now has the confidence to be like, this works.
This is where I think it was wrong, where Troy Baker and Ashley was talking about when he first met with Ashley Johnson and did the chemistry test or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was like, if this fails, it's because of us.
Yeah.
It's because of us two not delivering the lines how it needs to be. Because of how the story was so well written. Like when they got the pitch, there was a beginning, middle, and end. They understood it. If the game turns out to be just like the pitch, and the reason it doesn't succeed is because of us.
Or gameplay.
Or that. But I think if HBO got that same pitch and the story and like outside of it being a video game property, why didn't you just take a shot on the story that you just heard and you liked it?
I guess
if you presented to me a story driven narrative and it just so happened to be a video game and I know nothing about this video game and I liked the story and I felt confident in the people who just gave it to me, and
that's what they did. They just
it came out on a platform as big as Sony, like not even just PlayStation, but Sony branded thing, I would be like, fuck it, let's try. I'll be like, let's do it.
That is a smart choice.
I'll be like, because I'm a man of the people.
You got to think about it like them, right? Because a lot of those people.
But they greenlight dumb shit on HBO Max. I'm like, just cancel that fucking show.
But what you got to realize is that those people who greenlight those shows and it does bad, they lose their jobs. They don't just stay around and be like.
No, sometimes they do.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
A lot of times they do.
Most of the times.
Producers are the most job safety people that
you're putting a lot of your job on the line if someone comes to you to pitch something.
As a producer, if it fails, it's not your fault. They didn't cast right. The script writers changed. They didn't do XYZ.
But then you're also putting a lot of your company's money into a film, right? And if it doesn't give back what you put in, I feel like they'd be upset with you, whether that be your fault or not. So, but now they know it works. Now, hopefully, they will give other shows that we've talked about, whether that be Red Dead Redemption, a TV show, a bully show, a GTA show, whatever, right? Whether they now have the confidence to be like, no, video game properties do work.
Detroit Become Human, I would love to see as a show.
And we can give it more episodes. We can give them more time, more budget, because it works. People are interested in these live action things, right? Because sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't, and it fails horribly, and they lose a lot of fucking money because of it.
What would you rate the season as a whole?
9.
I'll give it a 7.5.
9 out of 10.
I don't think it was that strong.
I think it was nearly perfect. I only had a few gripes with it. I can't sit here and be like,
I think it would have been a 10 out of 10 if it was my first time ever consuming this property.
Yeah, maybe.
I wouldn't know any better. I wouldn't. Yeah, I would be like,
hearing it and everything.
Cool. Yeah. Crying, sad. Like when you were like, oh, this shit got me crying. This shit got me crying. I was like, bro, I knew that was gonna happen.
Which sucks because that's the one thing that I was like, I hope this thing can make me feel emotions for as much as I felt when I played the game, and it didn't. And a lot of the early episodes were hitting me like I love the scene with Joel and Ellie, and he this is something that's only in the show where he brings up that he almost killed himself and he like flinched and it missed. That's only in the show, and I love that scene between the two of them. But I was like, damn, it didn't make me cry, which is weird because usually scenes like that do make me cry. Damn. Like I was at the verge of tears, but nothing fell out. I was like, but I know the ending gonna hit me, bro, because I cried like a bitch when I played the first game. And I was like, I know the end's gonna hit me, and it hit. And I was like, oh, nothing. Not even like not even watery eyes.
No, we didn't even get to the end before rating it. But the ending is Joel gets to Ellie, kills the doctors.
We were at the scene where like he wakes up at the bed. Yeah,
kills the doctors.
Marlene tells him about everything.
Kidnaps Ellie and escapes down to
the
basement.
I do like how fucking ruthless he was. That shit was cool. Because in the game, you're very ruthless, and in the game, I remember walking into that thing and killing every doctor, including the nurses, without it. Like, I never even
kill
give
the
them
women in the show.
I don't ever give them a chance to talk, which is insane. Because in part 2, when they flash back to that scene, I stood there and was like, now that I know the consequences of my actions, I don't want to shoot everyone in here. But I remember when I first played the game, I didn't know. Again, the original one didn't have all this fancy shit. There was no alarms. I was like, it's a dingy ass hospital. What the fuck are y'all gonna do? You just go kill a little girl. So I felt no remorse. I walked in there, bam, 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 but I just picked her up.
They get to the basement.
Yeah.
Marlene is there. One last chance to try to get
when he
get Joel to do the right thing. And then he shoots her. Doesn't say, I don't give a shit about that. Boom. And puts Ellie in the car safely. Gently sets her down. Goes over to her. She's like, let me live, please. And he's like, you'll just come looking for her. Bang! And end that portion. They drive back towards Jackson.
By the way, before we get off this topic, did you see the cameo or the Easter egg that they put in there? When he's shooting up the Firefly hospital, there's one scene where this guy is like at a counter and he's guarding someone as they run away. It's supposed to be, or I think it's supposed to be Abby.
Nice.
Because it's a female, and when she's running, you see the braid. Like the iconic Abby braid, you see it in the shadow, and she's the only person that gets, like, it's the one person that you literally don't see him kill, but he kills everybody else.
He doesn't kill everybody else, though.
Oh, I guess he doesn't kill the 2 nurses, right?
No, he doesn't kill. Joel doesn't kill the whole hospital. Joel kills a lot of people.
Yeah.
But like as he's escaping down the elevator in the game, they're like, "Don't let him get to the garage." There's still people running towards him.
Yeah. And in the game, I'm talking about in the show.
But I'm saying in the show too, he didn't kill everybody. There's no way he could kill everybody in that fucking building.
But so yeah, in that scene, there's someone guarding like.
Probably kills all the able people who want to fight.
You see a girl run away, and I was like, that might be an Easter egg.
I didn't even see.
They haven't confirmed it though, but I think it is.
Could be. You could have caught something. So if I watch a YouTube video on it and then I see that, I'm like,
it was cool. Yeah, I caught it and I saw the braid and I was like, is that?
So then
technically she is there during that time when it happened.
Yeah, but she's walking towards the hospital, towards the operation room. That's what's getting me. Like, why is she running away in this?
Because he's shooting people.
But she walks towards, like, in her flashback, she's, like, making her way towards the operating room because she's like, something's going on.
I guess you're right. In the flashback, she's running towards her dad instead of running away from him. Yeah.
So, I don't know.
It might not be her. It might just be an extra with a braid. Mm-hmm. And they'll be like, dude, that was just an extra with a braid.
Like, oh, that was a tease. It wasn't it wasn't no Easter.
But it looked cool. It felt like the same thing they did with that girl at Jackson that could be Dina. Mm-hmm.
No, it definitely. They definitely said something about it. They were like, it could be. It definitely is. It could be there. Like, no, shut up. It is. So he kills.
Yeah,
Marlene.
Puts in the car.
And then they drive away. And they eventually have to start walking towards Jackson, like a 5-hour hike. He starts talking about his daughter way too much for me. For my liking.
But he does that at the end of the game.
I know, but in Pedro Pascal's delivery, I was like, why are you talking about your ex-daughter with your new daughter? Like that's because. And I say ex-daughter and new daughter because that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. That's that he's trying to replace the hole that Sarah left. And he says this line where she's like, "Oh, so time does heal everything." He's like, "Not always." And he looks at Ellie
like on the line like, "No, it was you."
Yeah, exactly. Like, and so it's like that hole that was
that's
behind,
the scene that I was talking about. That I was like,
leave it.
That scene should have. It usually would have made me cry. It didn't make it. It got me.
Like, I was like, damn, it was cute as fuck, man.
It got me teary-eyed. I was like, that's mad fucking cute, bro.
But yeah. And then the show ends. We don't get to Jackson. They're going towards Jackson. They walk up the hill and
he's talking about his daughter to Ellie and about how they would have been good friends, how they would have gotten along. And then they get to the top of the hill.
And she asks her one last question. Yeah. She's like, what happened? Or like, are you lying to me? Or
it was, did you tell me the truth about everything that happened in the Fireflies?
Yes.
Or did you lie? And he's like, no, I didn't lie. And she's like, you promise? And he's like, I promise. She's like, and you could tell there's some doubt, but she's like, I trust this man enough to know that he wouldn't lie to me after everything we've been through. And that's why it hurts so much in the second game when she's like, you fucking lied to me. Yeah.
And that was the end of The Last of Us. That was the end of the last. I guess season 1 would be tied. No, season 1 of Idle Talk is just The Last of Us because it's what we fucking talked about for a bunch. But now I told you in the gym that I was gonna ask you some random questions.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pull up a question, and I want to get your honest thoughts. Why am I using the trackpad when I have the most expensive mouse pad in the world?
That's like a $20 mouse.
It is a $20 mouse, but I'm trying to get my fucking mouse back on my screen.
As we drag it to the left.
I'm trying to, bro. Oh, it's back on my screen. Okay. Question number 1 for me. I'm not gonna show you the questions. I'm gonna pop. I know I popped them up for me. It's a podcast related question. How has coming onto this podcast changed your life so far? It doesn't have to be big change or small change. How has it changed you up to this point?
I think if I had to say anything, we've been podcasting for 3-4 months now, 3-4-5 months.
It's 3 months because of January.
It's given me an outlet to talk. So whether that be about my day or anything that's on my mind, it's given me an outlet because a lot of times I'm alone. So I either just leave all the thoughts in my head or I don't talk at all. So it's a good outlet to finally and it's also made me better at communicating, like a lot of times I didn't know how to communicate how I felt or how to speak about things I'm interested in or anything. Like I was very socially awkward, so still am low-key. But yeah, it's helped tremendously. That it also helped tremendously with self-realization and being able to talk to yourself and now I could sit there and be like, hey, Fabian, this is what we have to do this week. You know what I'm saying? Have a conversation with myself and not feel weird about it. Also it taught me how to edit audio and video clips together. It also taught me I don't know. I think that's about it.
Good or you think it was
it's
good or bad experience so far? What's it like?
Great experience. Nothing bad to say currently. Yeah, I've gotten a bunch of positive feedback from the Idle Talk. I've gotten a bunch of people telling me how funny I am, how much they love listening to me. How recently someone was like, "You have a great voice. It's so soothing to hear you." And I was like, "What?" Because I hate listening to myself. Anytime I hear myself talk, I'm ill. Whenever I have to hear myself back in a recording, I don't.
When we're talking at this volume, it's so different as opposed when we're raised up, amped to talk about something. It's a night and day difference.
So yeah, it is cool. It also it's gotten me back into working out, getting more fit. Because even though I was already doing that for myself, I'm more proactive now because like I'm more on camera and I don't want to look like fucking shit all the time. So yeah, those are the few positive things that I can say Idle Talk has taught me in the 3 months of being on it. Okay, cool. You? Me? Since starting?
From January or from
whatever you want to answer.
I'll say it's given me a reason to continue doing it. You know, I did it with another co-host, and then I did it by myself for like a year and a half, and then because it's been 3 years, it's like Idle Talk started. The first episode was January 1st of 2020, of 2020, and then COVID happened. The crazy later, but January 1st, it was a 2019, the December 2019, where we bought microphones, we bought the software, we recorded 30 episodes that never aired. We all the practice episodes like never really aired. There was a bunch of or the lip smacking that still happens, but there was like a lot more. And then we finally recorded 10 episodes because I had to go to Mexico. And those 10 episodes were about, one of them was about money, one of them was about men's mental health, one was about just the ability to travel and wanting to do stuff, one was about music. Like, it was really 10 episodes of very different topics to get the conversations flowing. And now in January of 2023, it was like, now where does it head from here? That was just the biggest question that I had for myself. And it was like, let's see what we can do with Fabrian, not only podcast wise, but just like, let's see like if this is what it takes to continue moving Idle Talk forward. And when a co-host there, a solid co-host that's not just like a guest. Like, we talk about a duo in our mini that we're gonna drop, but for me, it was, I laid out the outline. I was like, 4 seasons. That's already a year commitment, right? And it's, somebody left a comment on our TikTok because I dropped that clip where I was like, you know, we're gonna introduce seasons, and it's gonna be useful for me because it'll be on the calendar. It'll be something that we look forward to, and I mean, it's like a commitment not only to the people who listen, but to you yourself, as a person, and to myself, because I feel like there's a different level between committing to yourself versus committing to a person, whether that be romantically or platonically or professionally. And I was just like,
and again, all those relationships take a lot of
I was like, I said there was gonna be 4 seasons, and I was like, well, let's deliver 4 seasons to everybody, and maybe it might be the year that Idle Talk like takes off. You know, hopefully. I mean, it's been not taken off, but it's like there's way more room to jump off to. So I think that's just the biggest thing that I can take away from the Idle Talk 1.0 to Idle Talk 1.1, which was me by myself, and then 2.0, Idle Talk 2.0. I mean, we started a whole different podcast cover too, and then I got it changed, and then I got it changed like while I was still with the old co-host, and I wanted to be like, hey, look at this design. I don't want to change our design. I just want you to look at it. I just wanted to see if there could be a different look for Idle Talk. And then when the new design came out, I'm like, we both like, I can explain the logo to you real quick. The middle piece is the text waiting icon. Like, so how Idle Talk's like 3 dots, like a stoplight, and then it's like, it squiggles out like a voice, like a voice line, like a waveform, and it's the three dots in the middle are like when you're in a message and somebody's writing up. That's because cool. I think it's an ingenious design. It's like a combination of texting somebody, but also and in audio because of the waves. And I just love the idea. The neon signs I kept. It was it was in the original logo. The brick wall I kept. The brick wall as you see on the TV. It's like it's a way cooler brick wall. I love this brick wall. But that's just to see the start to. If we
ever get a expensive set, we should put the brick wall.
Bro, I want to so bad. I want a brick wall.
I want like a
black and love a black and brick wall, black and white brick wall. But moving on, I'm gonna show you a video, and I played a little bit earlier to test it, but I'm going to just press play. I'm gonna just.
What about the audio?
They'll hear it. It's fine. But I want everybody to listen and pay attention.
Fathers will intentionally abandon their families at Disneyland. And this is probably one of the most heartbreaking and sad stories I have ever heard about Disney. In 2022, an 11-year-old child was apparently told that his dad was going to the restroom while in the Indiana Jones line. The father never came back, so the child seeked out a cast member. And unfortunately, they confirmed that the father completely left the park. Cast members have said that this is actually something that happens fairly often. As parents think it will soften the blow of abandoning their family if they do it at Disneyland. But I think most people would agree that it would ruin Disneyland for life. And it is incredibly sad that fathers will...
So...
That sucks.
If you didn't hear that, I will import this audio later. But
hit him
isn't
with
that
TLDR real quick?
Crazy. TLDR. Fathers will leave children at Disneyland because they think it'll be an easier thing to take.
Jesus. As a father.
Your father?
No. As a father myself, no.
As a future father.
As a kid with no father, I shall give you an answer. I don't know. I feel like that's really shitty.
Would you have preferred it this way?
No. God,
right?
no.
Hell no.
I would have rather you walked out of my life without bringing me to a cool-ass place first.
Way to traumatize me at this place.
But, I don't know, bro. That seems... Why would you spend all that money just to leave your kid there? That's kind of like really shitty to do. To be like, I'm gonna spend mad money on a plane ticket, mad money on the 2 amusement park tickets, get on a ride in a line for a ride with you, and then be like, all right, I'm out. I'm gonna go to the bathroom and just leave him there. That's crazy. I can only imagine. What do you think what was he doing? Like, he was just like, the moment he walked out of the Indiana Jones, did you think he sprinted to the car? Like, if I get caught now, I'm fucked. I'm going to jail. Yeah. So I'm a sprint. Or do you think he was like a casual? Like,
nah, he probably walked towards the bathroom. He's like, did one of these, like, pat his pockets, like, I left something. and then just ran to the car.
I don't know, man. I feel like, and imagine how shitty you would.
I mean, it's a big place. So, like, you'd be like, I left him with his mom. I want to go get something real quick. At the hotel or something.
That's what I'm saying, because you can only imagine as the kid, right? He probably got to the top of the line, and they were like, "Where's your parent?" He's like, "I don't ride without a guardian." He's like, "Oh, he went to the bathroom." And he probably stood there for like an hour or something.
Bro, they probably like, "Okay, you can wait on the side."
Yeah, and then the cast members after like an hour was like, "Yo, where's your dad?"
He's like,
and then he's like, "I don't know. He literally went to the bathroom." They probably took that kid's hand, walked him to the bathroom, checked the bathroom.
Wasn't there.
It wasn't there. Then started checking all the other bathrooms. Wasn't there.
Way to load up abandonment issues for your kid.
That's crazy. That's what I'm saying. Imagine having to go through all of that as a baby, or not a baby, as a kid, right? Like, you're on a line by yourself.
You're old enough to go to Disneyland. You're definitely old enough to experience trauma.
And then you have these cast members walking you around, be like, no, not in this bathroom, not in this bathroom. And then hours later, they're like, oh, he left you here.
Dipped.
And I'm really sorry about that. And this is what we're gonna do to fix that. I don't know, man. I feel like don't do that. Don't traumatize your kids way more than you have to. If you're gonna leave them with the kid, with the mom.
On purpose.
Yeah, leave them with the mom, or like leave them with the other parent if you don't want to be involved.
No, because at this point, like at that point, after you abandon him, you've
go
got a few hours until they figure out who the mom is or who somebody else is, and then you're
where
like,
the fuck you are?
You're dipping. You're going. I'm in Utah right now. I'm not even in Florida no more. Like.
That's what I'm saying. You think he got out of there fast? Like, it's going to be a minute before they catch
Nah, he definitely went to the bathroom. They wanted the pat thing, and he's like, oh, I gotta go. I forgot my wallet to go to the bathroom. Just dipped. Never came back.
Because the guy in the video doesn't even say what happened to the kid.
No, never. They never say it. No.
Did they find his mom? Did he go into foster care?
The comments get sad as fuck, though, so I'm not going to show you the comments. But
why? What did they say?
No, because they're like, this.
He deserves it.
No. They're like they give statistics like this happens to X amount of kids every year or whatever.
That's so sad that because even in the video he says, oh, this is really like. That means that the cast members it happens so often that they know they have a protocol for it. That's really fucking sad. Don't take your kid to Disneyland if you're gonna fucking leave them there. What is that?
I guess that's the best way they thought they could do
it. To leave it, bro.
Would you rather them leave them in a random McDonald's?
No, leave them with the other parent or leave.
No, because then that makes it too personal. That makes it too hard.
I don't know.
Because now you have to tell the mom you're gonna leave too.
Yeah, true. But what type of
why am I defending them?
Ignorant ass person do you have to be like
coward?
I do not care about how anybody else feels but me, so I'm gonna do the worst thing.
You gotta be a coward. I think that's what it is, a coward.
No, because to them it must be like
easier.
Genius.
Like, oh,
I left them at.
I've got a plan.
Yeah, it must be like genius to them. They're like, this is the perfect plan.
I've got a plan, Arthur.
No one else has thought about this. I'm gonna bring my kid to Disneyland and leave him there, and he'll be so happy because it's Disneyland. Who wouldn't be happy at Disneyland? That's shittiest people. I'm so sorry to whoever you were, kid, and all the other kids that it happens to. Okay. I don't deserve that.
So next,
you deserve a father who cares about you.
You deserve people in your life who care about you. Just period. Okay, you person. So next clip. We got a few of these. Before we get to we got a fight video. Let me pause it and bring it back over. And I guess I'll just.
Can I read the caption?
It's gonna spoil it, but we'll read it. It says, "Dude catches a man keying his car in broad daylight and goes crazy on him."
That seems very warranted. I would go crazy on someone keying my car.
4.4 million views, and this is from the account called Crazy Fights, Crazy Clips, Crazy something, Crazy Clips.
Hit it.
Keying him right there. There's a pipe in his hand. Bang! Over the top of his dome. Just drops him punch with the pipe. Is that blood on his head? Can we see that? Oh, he's starting getting him off. Like, yo, you're doing too much damage. Slumped. Toe action for the people.
Not the.
Oh, he said, "You my neighbor." But yeah, initial reactions, like you can see clearly right there that he's fucking. That he's keying it.
They must have a relationship.
A beef of some kind.
That can't be random. Because even you said what, they're neighbors?
Yeah, that's what somebody screamed out. So he keyed the whole side and the back, and this guy starts noticing pretty fast. And he's keying on the other side too.
But he must have seen him because he came out with a weapon, which means he saw him prior.
I think that's where he works. Because when we look back over here,
there's a bunch of friends.
There's a bunch of cars. Like I think this might be a body shop
and like aprons and stuff, right?
What's that? McGuffin. So it's a diner.
It's a diner.
And where did he get the stick from?
I don't know.
It's some pipe. What I thought it was, I thought this was a pipe, like from like a tire wrench, or like that thing a breaker bar. No, but it's a big ass pipe.
Probably a pipe from the kitchen or something.
And boom, over the head, not once but twice, and it just slams him, and then just starts punching him. And these cars are just driving by. This guy gets here, looks at him, he's like, "Hey guy, you might need to stop." Almost gets whacked by the pipe himself. I don't know if you saw.
You know what's funny is that he drops the pipe after he drops the guy,
and then picks it up,
starts punching him, and then is like, "Oh, this hurts me. I don't want to do that."
Punch
picks the pipe up.
Look, yo, he weaved it just a tad bit right here. He just like dodged it. He's like, "Okay, guy, stop, relax." And when I want
shout out to his friends though,
who try to stop him,
not try, who do stop him. Because if you see this guy has an apron on, he must be in the kitchen. He must work in the kitchen.
He must be like a dishwasher or something. That's like a dishwasher apron.
Yeah, and he's wearing a hat, so he definitely works in the kitchen.
But they're like, "Yo, get off of him, bro. Relax. This is too much." And even this guy in the car who was recording, he's like, "Stop."
It's fine that he hit him, right? Because it was his car. But once he kept going, if that guy would have died, he would have been charged.
I have no idea of any updates of like how this guy is. I don't know what I just did, but.
So his friends are
his homies were like, "Can you please stop? This is not a good look for you."
Because if he killed somebody over a car scratch, he'd be stuck
in prison, forever. In hell, in purgatory,
for a car that he could have gotten, just taken a picture, gotten it fixed over the other guy's insurance.
Okay.
If the other guy had insurance.
Before we move on to the next clip, I gotta show you. I got another question loaded up for you. What is your earliest childhood memory?
Oh.
I'll let you think about it, and I'll answer this question.
Okay.
I don't have one. I don't know if it's some kind of trauma that I have, or something in my life that maybe playing football too much that have basically erased my childhood. But I only remember whenever my mom brings up something, she's like, "Hey, do you remember when you did this?" And I'd be like, "Yeah,
kind of."
Now that you mention it, but now if I sit and relax my mind and like really maybe like meditate and try to like really like dig into my synapses, like what memories I have, I don't really remember things from probably like 2020 on, and that's when we started the podcast because it's a like a history for me. Like I get to listen back. But anything before that has been really difficult for me to remember. So when I ask you the question, what's your earliest childhood memory? I kind of want to know, do you have recognition of like what you were like as a child, or is it what something I was like whatever? Can you remember anything from back then?
I'm gonna be real with you.
On your own, is that something that's maybe like you and me exclusive, or is that something maybe a lot of people go through?
But I do know how I was as a child from stories of my mom, whether they're accurate or not. That's up to her because I don't remember. But she would always tell me that I was like a quiet child. I was to myself. I didn't really cry. I didn't do anything. That I became a problem as I grew up. But earliest, I think it'd be like gaining consciousness. Because before that, no, I don't have. I have zero recollection, and I remember vaguely. Have you remember gaining consciousness? Yeah, it's very vague to me. Where like I just one day was like,
it's the craziest shit I've ever heard. I remember gaining consciousness, like you're like.
Yeah, like that didn't happen to you.
Like you're born, and you're like, holy.
No.
Oh, okay. Like getting a conscience, like, oh, this is right and wrong.
Like you start thinking
for yourself.
You start thinking about what you're doing. Where like everything, like the world hits you, and you're like, oh, I'm alive and I'm in a world and shit happens.
Like, don't touch that, and you're like, touch.
And it burns you or some shit. Yeah.
Like, okay. No, I don't remember that either. That still sounds like the craziest shit I've ever heard.
Yeah, but for me, it was me just like sitting there like doodling or some shit. And before I gained consciousness, it literally is like you're living on autopilot. You just do what you're told. You're just doing activities. You're not really thinking for yourself. It's just autopilot. So if I had one, it'd be vaguely that. Like I'm drawing, and then my mom calls me for something, and then I
don't listen on purpose.
Not that I don't.
She comes in and whoops your ass. Like, I called you 80,000 times.
Where like she'll call me, I look up, and then like in that moment I gain consciousness. I went from like being a baby brain to be like, oh, this brain is developing now. I understand, and then I started thinking for myself. So, but childhood, no, I don't. Unless it's a very core memory, no, I don't really remember things.
My earliest childhood memory has been something my mom told me, so it's not even that I remember it. She told it to me, and I tell it to people sometimes as like a childhood story of mine.
Yeah.
And that's when I locked myself in like a TV cabinet, kind of like the one you have right here, but just think bigger, where a child could fit with no drawers. I locked myself in there somehow, and my mom reminds me of that story. She just told it to me. She's like, "Yeah, I came back, and you told me you were in there for like."
I have a few like childhood stories, but they're not like I wasn't really small. I remember them because I was big enough to remember. There's one where
even the ages that I was big enough to remember, I don't remember shit.
Yeah, that's bad. I remember like as a kid, I was really afraid of Chucky, like the doll, and I remember my cousin, like not Joang, his older brother, and then my older brother.
Favorite?
Yeah.
Nice. They would. I know the lore. I know the lore. I'm getting to know everybody.
And they would bully me about it, and they would like make fun of it, and like would scare me. And I remember they bought my cousin's older brother bought the doll, and left it at my crib, and then they were fucking with me the whole night. I remember like going to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and then like seeing its little feet like run across the door. And when I tell you, I've never been so fucking scared in my life, bro. I didn't want to leave that. I was started yelling. Like screaming, crying in the bathroom for my mom because I didn't want to go in the hallway, and then my mom got in, and then started like, "Why? What the fuck are you talking about?" I'm like, "The doll." I made a big fucking deal about it. She made him throw it out. That's a memory I remember. There's also one when I lived in Palisades Park. I think I was like teenager type shit, and my older sister pretended to be a ghost and scared the fuck out of me and my older brother. Like me and my older brother shared a room for a really long time. She pretended to be like a ghost, and like kept doing like was flashing the lights on and off. She'd like she'd flash the lights off and then like stand at the door with her hair like down, and it looked like a ghost. Turn it on, we'd get scared, turn it off, and then she wouldn't be there. So us as kids would be like,
fuck you go.
Yeah, us as kids would be like, oh, she's a fucking. We got scared.
Demon.
Yeah, we thought it was a demon. I remember me and my brother were so scared. We told our mom. Our grandma started burning like sage and putting shit in pillows and shit to keep us safe. And then turns out like years later, my sister confessed that it was her. And for years, I thought it was legitimately like my first ghost experience.
Every time somebody comes over, like, yo, be careful, there's a fucking ghost in here.
I remember us being like really believing it, like really wholeheartedly. And yeah, that's one of my earliest memories also with my siblings. So those are two that I remember briefly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. While we're on the topic of childhoods, what was a childhood dream of yours? And before you answer the second part of this question, are there any dreams you currently have as an adult? I can jump in if you need some time to think.
Yeah.
So, I remember this part because my mom never lets me live this down, where it was like a career day, and they were like, "Hey, what do you want to be?" And then,
why are you just about to tell the same story I have?
Do you?
I have a very similar story, but go ahead.
You're not gonna know where this goes.
Yeah,
and
I won't until you say it.
I thought everybody in the gym was part of the career day, and I talked to the janitor, and I'm like, hey, I've never seen you, and then he talked to me just like what he does or whatever. And I went home, and I was like, Mom, I think I want to be a janitor.
Mom, this looks like the job for me.
Yeah, and my mom never let me live that down. And when my sister was born, and as I was like getting older, every time I got to middle school finally, she was like, you better study up so you could be a janitor.
Did you know Nathan wanted to be a janitor?
And then I got to high school, like, you're gonna graduate to be a janitor? I'm like, you fucking bitch, shut the fuck up. And I don't even remember saying that. I don't remember being in that moment, but it being such a
obviously it was such a
long thing that she could never let it go. I'm like, damn, I must have said that.
I have a very similar story. So it was the same concept where we had career day at school, and then my mom picked me and my siblings up from work and she told her oh, how was your day, right? And so me and my siblings are like, oh, we had career day and we had to explain what we wanted to do and blah blah blah. My brother's like, oh, I want to be a cop. And explaining why he wants to be a cop, blah, blah, blah. Then my sister's like, oh, I want to be I think it was a vet or a doctor or something. And explaining why, because she loves animals and blah. And I was like, what do you want? I was like, I want to be a robber. And she was like, what? I was like, I want to rob shit. I just want free shit.
Who was robbing at the career fair?
I don't know. I don't even remember saying it, but I'm telling you, she tells this story so often and so vividly. If you ever sit down with her, it's a story she'll tell you about how, we were all in the car explaining how, and then I was like, I just want to be a robber. And she's like, you can't be a robber. That's not a career. I'm like, why not? That seems like a good career to me. She's like, you're gonna go.
Definitely is a career.
She's like, you're gonna go to jail. Your brother's gonna arrest you. And I'm like, yeah. So
that'll be our thing.
I'm like, I'll be free. I get free stuff. So that's one that. But childhood dream, I think, as a kid, I always wanted, because I don't even remember that. But my mom tells me Bible that it
apparently
happened,
it was my dream to be a janitor.
It was my dream to be a robber for a while, but that I remember is a chef. I wanted to be a chef, I think, my whole life until I actually became one, and I was like, this shit sucks. So yeah, my whole life I would watch cooking channels. I would cook with my mom. I loved cooking. I love food. I'm a fatty, and food has always been a very comforting thing for me, right? I've never been good at socializing with people or doing it, but the one thing that I am good at is sitting down with someone and eating and having a good time. And so there's no language barrier to that, so that's always been great for me. And then I learned how to cook. I worked in the kitchen and I was like, oh, this sucks ass. It's hard. It's tiring work. It's tiring work. You never get a break.
Stressful.
It's hot. You're always hot. You're always sweating. You're constantly burning yourself. You're getting yelled at over. It wasn't for me. So yeah, I do still love to cook. I know how to cook. I love to cook. Is it my dream to be a chef anymore?
You gotta be professional at cooking to love to cook.
That's what I'm saying.
You saw it,
and it sucks that your
dream pivoted.
But that's what. It's that the career ruined the dream for me, right? Because if I went my whole life not working in the kitchen, I would have still had that dream. I would have still wanted to be a chef. I would have still wanted to have my own restaurant. But once I worked in the kitchen, I was like, "Oh, this is ass."
I would still love my own restaurant.
I would still. Yeah, that's different.
I told
owning a restaurant and being the head chef in your own kitchen is a lot different than working in the kitchen for someone else who is also a head chef, and it's completely different.
We talked about Waffle House in one episode with the Waffle House incident. And I remember being introduced to Waffle House when I was living in South Carolina. I was seeing a girl at the time, and she had a Waffle House right around the block to her house. And I was like, perfect. Like, well, every time I came over, because I would drive to her house.
Waffle House.
Like, let's go get Waffle House. And I just love being, like, eating at Waffle House. Just love the environment.
It's a diner experience.
So now when I was with another person, we were in an area that had a Waffle House. I think it was Tennessee. And I was like, I love Waffle House. Can we go to Waffle House? Like, it's just it's the best place, and you could definitely eat there. And I was like, it's amazing. And then we were sitting down, and I think not the concept of dreams came up, but I'm like, eventually I would just love to retire
and own
a Waffle House, but be the person making the food. Like that's just like something for me. I think not like if I retire a millionaire, billionaire, whatever it is. Like even if I retired a billionaire or I retired a regular person, I would still want to buy and own and make food at a Waffle House. It's just my,
for sure.
my
I would
my
love
thing
to
do.
buy and own and work at a restaurant,
But like not for the money, just from like I just want to kind of create that same feeling that I got as a New Yorker in the South, as just feeling like so like welcomed randomly that day. I was just like, wow, this was cool. This is a staple of the South, and I kind of understand the Southern hospitality, how it's actually a real thing to kind of like gloss over. And so I was like, okay, that's pretty dope. I still hold that dream like to close to heart. Like that's still something I would want to do, is retire and open up a Waffle or open up like a restaurant, like a private like diner or something like that, where my dream is to have like a compound and have all my homies live on there, and then that's where the private diner comes in. Like, yo, like pull up to the diner and I can make you guys something, and like we could all just eat there, like a big like fucking like the old school diners where that you sit on the stool and there's like a big table around where it is. I was like, that would just be like an amazing like dream and concept for myself.
That does sound like a dream. And then you asked,
do you dream now as an adult? Yeah. Right? So those are my current adult dreams. Do you have any like
current adult dreams? If I had to pick,
because I think the concept of dreaming is like still childlike. You know, it's still a childlike thing you can do. So I was just curious if you had any, or if
I
you
do
still
have dreams, but I think my dreams are now more rooted in reality than they were back then. Like for me, my dream currently is like, oh, I want to be successful on this podcast one day. It's something that I'm currently working towards, and it's like that seems like a reachable dream that can be reality if I work hard enough, right? And same with my clothing brand. I want my clothing brand to be bigger and work with it more. It's just currently I just don't have the money for it, and I know one day when I can or will have the money for it, it's a dream of mine to restart, or not restart, but like continue Rozu and continue keep making. It's one of my passions. I love designing clothes. I love cooking. These are two things that I really love doing. So, and
two things that technically are the same thing. Like designing clothes is like the concept of making something and then finally getting a result. And same thing as cooking is preparing and making something, and then the end result dish is.
So if I had two dreams, I feel like those two would be number one and number two. Idle Talk and Rozu, the two things that I would want more than anything in the world to become successful and actually make a good living with it without having to like constantly live paycheck to paycheck type shit. 3 personal something like childlike bullshit. If I had to pick a childlike dream.
I mean, I think just the concept of dreaming is like childlike. Yeah. It's like, I guess the adult version of dreaming is like, oh, I'm going to manifest this. I'm going to manifest that. Yeah. But I think just the childhood wonder of dreaming, like, is that something that you still do? Not childhood dreams. Not like I want to be 20 feet tall, but like just the fact that you kind of like can sit and be like, man, I want X, Y, Z to happen. I'm like, and then you start visualizing your life and you start getting like happy about it. Like that's the part that kind of makes it more childlike, I think.
And then
and more innocent, you know.
Life dreams. I'd like to one day have a family, right? Have a partner, have kids.
So again, this is technically you as an adult drawing your house in a crayon, drawing one mommy, one daddy, and then X amount of little tiny kids. Like it's the same thing, but just now as like an adult, where now
those would be life dreams.
You can root it in reality, like kids. You said.
You know, shit. like that. I feel like that would be the dream, or to maybe be a YouTuber, a Twitch streamer. Those are cool dreams that I think I had at one point in my life, and I was just like, nah,
too hard.
Not too hard, just
too much work.
I felt like it wouldn't work for me at the time. When I wanted to be a YouTuber or a Twitch streamer, I didn't have this under my belt, right? I didn't have the podcasting, being able to talk into a mic by myself, and like it was at a point in my life where like I wouldn't open my mouth unless I was spoken to. Like I was saying earlier, this podcast has taught me to be more open to just speaking to myself and speaking freely. So yeah, those are some things that I did dream about that might happen. Could be a dream.
Speaking about the podcast stuff we just mentioned, what's one of the biggest mistakes that you've made so far on this podcasting journey? Because you've been on here as a guest numerous times, and now you have the experience of like 3 months of consistently like trying to get an episode out and working on the episode. What do you think for yourself as this new person into this kind of format?
Perfection, I think, was my problem.
Okay, expand on that.
I wanted everything to be perfect, and then if it wasn't, I would criticize it way too much. I think now I'm okay with it not being perfect. I'm okay with something coming up or something making a noise or me not being able to think of something and just being like, whatever, fuck it. Like, I'll shoot the shit, I'll talk. I'm way more comfortable to being like, it's okay if no one is listening, just talk, bro. Yeah. Like, and back then I think I would start talking about something and I'd be like, oh, no one wants to hear this. And then I'd just stop talking, or I wouldn't be able to think of something more interesting and I'd just stop. I'd be like, and then just be doing that the whole time. So I think now I'm way more open to just be like, I don't give a fuck. I'll just talk. If you want to listen. If you don't, you don't. I don't care. So
speaking about talking,
like, you were asking me the question if there's anything that I would change or do anything. What was it?
It was what was your biggest mistake you've made so far, and how did you learn from it?
So yeah, one would be the perfectionism, and then 2 would be,
how did you learn from not trying to be a perfectionist? Yeah. How did you get there to finally accepting it? Like, what made you?
I don't know if I have a specific memory of why or what did it. I think it literally is just the repetitivity of it, like the fact that we do it more often. I do it whether it's with you or by myself. I do it more often, so I'm more comfortable with it. Because I'm one of those people who change is very scary for someone like me. Like, if something very drastic changes in my life, it like genuinely like gets me annoyed. Like, I get annoyed about it. So it's made me be okay with change, being like, oh, like slowly but surely, like I'm doing this more. I'm able to do something that I previously thought would be impossible for someone like me, you know? So, and besides perfectionism, I think time management is something that I learned when it came to podcasting, because I didn't give a fuck, right? Like, most of my day I'd plan it out with, I'll wake up, I'll do this, great. So now if I need to record something, or if I have a deadline due, I'll be like, okay, I got to wake up at this time because I have to record for this, or I have to watch this because I have to record for this. And it's made my life a lot more scheduled than it used to be. So that's something that I've learned being on the podcast that before I didn't have.
Speaking of that, how have you managed to find a balance between the podcast and the other aspects of your life?
How have I met? I just make time for things that I like. That's what it is. If you are passionate about something and you want something to work, you make time for it. And as much as sometimes I'm like, damn, I wish like I had more time to do other shit and not just be working, and then when I'm off, I'm either working with you or I'm working out, or I'm constantly. There are times where I wish I was just laying down doing nothing, you know? So I do get that, but because of this, I know that the consistency is key. Like, I know that the podcast will be better if I'm consistent with it. The editing will be better if I'm consistent with it. If I make time for it, it will work. Yeah. And I'm passionate about the podcast. So I make time for it, even if I'm as tired as I possibly can be, not motivated as I possibly can be. I do put in the extra effort because I do care so much about this. So like, I'll come home from work, dog shit tired, and I'll be like, I need to watch this, and then I have to record about it because that is my obligation as the duo of this. Yeah. And I do it. And so that's the answer to the question.
Nice. So we're gonna skip talking about questions. We're gonna jump right into the next clip.
All right, another fight.
It says, "Dude puts on a fighting clinic." If this would go back, please, thanks. So, let's watch. Ooh.
Oh, the white guy said
That's
the N-word.
a white guy that said the N-word, by the way.
To a black guy, and he's getting his ass kicked.
That's not a black guy. That's an Edgar.
Looks like
That's
a
definitely an
black
Edgar.
Oh,
the way he
looks like a black
fights.
guy.
So I'm gonna have it playing again on mute.
Okay.
But I brought this clip up because as a professional boxer that you are,
I'm not a professional
as
boxer.
as a semi-pro boxer.
I am an amateur boxer.
As an amateur boxer, I wanted you to, before we get into your thoughts, we're gonna watch it again, and I wanted you just to see like the techniques from both of the guys and kind of like break it down. So we're gonna play it again. So right there, this white guy in the white and the black pants gets dropped. What did you think about the first couple of punches? This guy who's clearly gonna win this fight.
So what I've noticed from both of these people is that both of these people have never been in a fight in their life, and both of these people, this guy watches boxing, this guy does not.
This guy has no experience.
He's never seen another man fight in his life. This guy has seen plenty of people fight in his life, but has never fought in his life.
So this little weave that he does, I think it's only impressive because this guy just doesn't know how to fight, right?
Yeah, it's literally.
And it looks super cool. And right here, he clocks him. This punch starts out straight as fuck, and it ends up looking like he clubs him. Yeah, right there. And then that second punch.
See, this is how I know this guy has never been in a fight in his life, and how this guy also hasn't ever been in a fight.
What gives it away for this guy?
So when he's walking up to him, he literally just walks up and gets punched. He doesn't move. He's obviously seen fights enough to know to move, but then he doesn't know how to throw a punch. So then he just starts throwing haymakers left and right. Because this motherfucker can't fight, of course he hits every single one of them. But yeah, that's literally what it is. If this guy was fighting someone who can move as much as he can, he would have missed every single one of them. But if you watch it, he gets clocked by every hit.
Yeah, and then he kicks him in the face.
And then he takes advantage of it. This is something you can't do
in boxing, clearly.
You can't but you can do in MMA. And it's something that's very much
if this is MMA, this guy would have bounced off.
Yeah, in MMA it's in force. It's like if someone's on the ground, go for it, because then you can get the win. So again, this guy obviously watches combat sports enough to know I'm running at this man to hit him while he's on the ground.
Look at this punch that he throws real quick.
Yeah.
Did that hit him in the shoulder?
No, it hits him in where like temple? The ear, where the ear is. Yeah.
Ooh, right, cauliflower ear.
Bow. That's why you hit that. You
right at this point, he's bent over, dick in his ass, and his bell is wrong.
Look at this. You know how much that punch probably hurt him?
Because his fist is bent.
It's bent completely over.
That is so crazy because it's crazy that I stopped it at that point. But like today we were wrapping wrists.
Yeah,
we were teaching me how to wrap my wrist because we're gonna eventually start making some boxing content.
Yeah, because you teach me how to lift, I'll teach you how to box.
But if he had his wraps,
nah,
he'd be good. He'd be good.
Perfect, bro. But damn,
so that looked like
I can only imagine how much this one hurt, and then look how much power he put into this swing and missed. Yeah. But you know why he missed? Because he don't know how to fight.
He don't know how to aim the fucking punch.
But this guy, the only reason he missed is because this guy fucking fell. Because if he didn't fall, he would have gotten hit again. And then
he does that boxing stance that you do, where you're like keep on the ball of your feet, but his
hands are down. That's how I know he doesn't know how to fight. But what sucks about this is that this guy just got beat, and instead of being like, "Oh, this guy knows what the fuck he's doing,"
he stands up and goes for more.
He just walks back into getting his ass kicked. Like, what is that?
Weak ass punch, missed it. And then this punch was crazy.
This is what I'm like, oh, this guy knows that now he needs to dodge because this motherfucker was dodging everything. Because he dodges this hit. He moves back. He doesn't just get into it. But then he starts getting rocked again.
And then he misses a punch. Did that first punch connect, you think?
I think it hit him in the chest, but it didn't do damage. Yeah, it didn't do any damage.
And then, but props to the skinny white kid, the skinny kid in the white shirt, because he got clocked a few times. Like
a few. That man was getting his shit rocked.
That point where you said he got caught in the side of the head, the cauliflower ear that I said, I was like, at that point, my bell would have been wrong. I would have been like,
it should. I don't know how he got up after that because getting hit in the temple and as hard as he did because his hand hit one of these.
Props to that guy. Then he tries to kick him and it doesn't work. He runs into a brick wall pretty much, and now he starts dodging, but he starts dodge the bob and weave shit, but his hands are down.
Yeah,
he does it
because either he knows how to fight and he knows that the other guy can't fight.
He's gassed already.
Yeah,
he has used so much power at this point. Clocks him another time very well. Misses the other few punches, and he pulls up his pants, takes off his shirt, and then the fight's over.
And then this guy again. Wait, pause it. That's how I know this guy watches combat sport and this motherfucker doesn't. All that time while he took that shirt off, why did he give him the respect when he didn't give you the respect when you were on the ground? Charge him.
Yeah.
He gave you no respect when your back was turned, and he messed you up because of it.
That's crazy. Anyway, let's look at the next clip.
Wait, no, go back to this. I'm gonna talk to you real quick. Go back to this part where he gets back up after getting his ass beat. I'm getting caught in my own thing. Right here. So
Walks
during
away.
this, hold on, go over here. During this exchange, oh my God, if he would have just fucking not done that. Pause it. So you see how after the first punch this guy misses, he keeps going in, and now this guy's backing up and dodging everything.
Yeah.
If he just stood still and let him gas himself out, he would have won this fight.
This guy.
Because look at how the other guy is just throwing haymakers the whole fight. He's
already gassed. Like he's dodging. Look at his face. Like it's not HD, but he's like clearly like flexing his eyebrows.
Yeah.
Punch, dodge, oof. So you're saying right here at this point that
he shouldn't have chased him.
No. So he should have just.
He should have stood here where he missed and took advantage of it, like this guy is. He's keeping space, and then that's why he gives up. That's something, by the way. If you pause it. It's an exercise that's one of the most scary exercises in boxing is when they put a tire in front of you and then tell both of you to put your foot in the tire and say go. And you have to fight each other when you're this close to each other.
Like this?
Like that. But it's even closer because both your feet, it's like that. Ooh. And you have to learn to bob and weave.
This is the last. This is the punch that did it. This is the punch that she's like, I'm done.
I don't think it was that. I think it was the one at the ground. And then it finally hit him, and he's like, maybe this hurts too much. I don't want to fight.
Takes off his shirt. He's like, I'm a fucking champ.
But I mean, if you got that much hits off and dropped someone, I'd feel like a champ too. So, makes sense.
It says, dude beats up his homie he claims sexually assaulted him in his sleep.
Nah, he deserves
so that title already, crazy. Boom, a guy.
Wait, why did these guys fight? I didn't read the title.
It says dude puts out a fighting clinic. We don't even know why they fought.
He was just fighting a fight.
But this guy, and can I tell you something? Apparently, this statement right here happens a lot more than people realize. Like, dudes be gay on the low, and like whenever like somebody's sleeping over or something like that,
they do some gay shit.
They do some gay shit, and like, not some gay shit, some like perverted shit, like assaulting somebody.
Yeah, maybe let's not do that, guys.
No,
let's not touch people without their consent.
It's a 2-minute long video. Just runs up to clock him. Right there. So he runs up, punches him, and then he backs up, and he's like, "Put your shit up."
Yeah.
He still respects him in some way or another, right? Or am I tripping? Where he's like,
no, that's common in street fights. Where like it's not
initiate it and then
it's not for respect. I've learned from being in enough street fights that most of the times it's just so that they can make you look like a bitch. So because now you got hit, and if you don't stand up for yourself, you're the bitch in this situation, right? Because I started the fight. And if you don't
I never thought of it that way.
He's testing his gangster. He hit him. So now you either, one, as a man, hit me back and defend yourself, or two, you look like a pussy.
Dumb little pussy boy.
So
a little femboy.
So that's what it was. And I've seen this a lot in street fights.
And he does it again.
And he's still doing it.
And now he's like deciding.
Well, now it's like he now has all the power in this fight, right? Where now he can bitch you out the whole time and keep hitting you, or decide to walk away and you still look like a bitch. Mm-hmm. If he doesn't get up and do something, he lost that fight no matter what, even if he didn't throw a punch.
Bro, if I would have got hit twice,
I'm
already at a disadvantage. I'm at a disadvantage. I'm like,
no,
just hit me
swing,
twice.
Defend yourself. Because even if you lose that fight, the moment that you defended yourself, even if poorly, this man will respect you a lot more than if you sat there and let him just beat your ass up.
I mean, he clearly licked his wiener in this sleep.
That is very true. You know what?
I don't think there's any respect
there is no
to
respect.
be kept
between
you're
right.
them. This is what my biggest gripe is. Before I even watched the whole thing,
if you wanted to beat him up, why didn't you just beat him up?
If you accuse them of this, why are you just still expecting him to fight back? Why don't you just beat his ass? unapologetically. But we're gonna watch.
Maybe because he was a good friend.
Whose house are they in? Zoom in. Did you hear what he said before?
I'm not gonna touch you.
No, he said, "You're gonna beat your dick over me, son."
Yeah,
he said there's a video on his phone
it,
that he was beating his dick
while he was asleep above him.
How you found that video, bro? He must say, "Yo, check my phone real quick. I might got like a message from blah blah," and then you go in your photos.
But you know what? I would be with the guy in the black. If I got violated that bad, I probably would be pretty angry too. What's crazy to me is that he either should have. I agree with you. He should have picked one. Either you choose to walk up to him and tell him to fight me, and to get up, or you just beat his ass. You gotta pick one. You can't. He went in between with both of them.
Because to me, the guy who threw the first 2 punches and then walks away and then goes punch him again.
Yeah.
That's a bad look. If you say that there's a video on this guy's phone of him jerking his dick while you're sleeping. And this is how you're half-assing your retaliation.
It doesn't seem. It seems like he wants to fight him.
But
that's what I'm saying. Either you go 100. Either you go 100 or you don't.
Because that's more than enough. Because I come here all the time and I spend the night and we record and we do whatever, right? But if I woke up one day and you're beating your dick in my face. Ain't no way I'm this calm about it, even if it was some time ago or however long that video was or however old. Like, there's no way I'm that calm about this. Because
I agree. That's what I'm saying. I would have beat his ass.
Focused rage.
Yeah, I would have. Exactly what he did at the beginning. I would have just beat his ass.
Continued, right?
Yeah, and then explain to him why I beat his ass. That's his voice?
No, that's a girl's voice. That's a girl right here on the side.
Wait, pause it. No, he lost.
Why?
Once you said that, it's gone. Whether this man was closeted or not, he will never ever get any play with any women in this school or
who. The guy right here?
The guy that just sat there, got punched, got up, and then the girl had to ask him, "Are you gonna do anything about it?" It's
at that point,
his reputation is killed.
Gets
with
no
any
guys
female.
or girls.
Yeah, at that point, his reputation is killed with any female if he was bisexual. See, now this guy's doing too much now. Either you beat his ass.
Is this right here? This show? I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. I'm gonna do whatever instead of actually doing it. Is this a show for the girl? You think to show like he's a tough guy? What's he saying?
No, I think it's.
Or
just
does he just not want to do it?
No, it's street. Have you been in a street fight before?
Not recently.
It's that.
I feel like I don't know how old these guys are, but I feel like this is such like a middle school, high school like age street fight. Because I can remember getting to a fight like this, but not like.
Nah, dudes who are in street fights, they do this a lot because
even as an adult, you think, even as a grown ass age of like 26,
even more so. Even kids were more likely to swing at you and start some
and
shit
mean it, right?
And they don't care about getting hurt. Like they're like, hey, whatever. A grown man who's like, yo, if I get in a fight, I might break an ankle today.
He's like, yo, my back might be thrown out.
Yeah,
you know?
so a lot of grown men will do that and talk a lot because a lot of people won't like see how this guy is just like
standing there.
Whatever. Like I'm not gonna. There's no point when you are clearly the physical bigger person and can intimidate the person you're yelling at and shit. They take advantage of it. And until someone like that's what I'm saying. Even if you would have lost that fight, if he would have gotten up and started swinging at him, he would have stopped talking like that. He would have been like, oh, like he did do some grimy shit, but at least he fought me. Mm-hmm. Like he wouldn't have been sitting there talking shit about him. I would never go out sad like that. It could be Dwayne The Rock Johnson. If he swings at me, I'm swinging back. I don't give a fuck.
But that's it?
You a girl, and you might want to get your best friend. But he might push the shot you get hurt.
Ooh. This is what I wanted from the beginning. Oh, he's going hard.
Yeah.
Now he probably respects this man enough to stop.
No, he didn't.
He's still okay though. How is he not like a pulp?
Because he probably wasn't actually hitting him, or at least not where it would actually hurt. He was probably hitting him like at the back of. Because usually when people don't want to fight, they do one of these.
Yeah.
Because that's the best way to protect yourself. The hardest part of your body is the back, your skull, your legs. So if you hit one of these, you're just a big ball of bone. And so he's probably just punching the back of his head, and he's hurting himself. And that's why they
one of these.
So he's probably the guy that was getting beat was probably sitting there like
okay,
and then I'm good.
Continuing on.
Yeah.
The caption: dude beats up his homie. He claims sexually assaulted him in his sleep. Right? We read that.
But in the video, it says that he didn't touch him. He just.
I think
sexually.
Harassed. I think maybe it's
assault. What do we need? He
advantage. Sexually took advantage of him because he's vulnerable and sleeping. But I don't know. I feel like with that headline and the video that we got correspondent, I don't. Maybe you think.
You know what's crazy to me about this clip though is the fact that this guy has the power to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because it was another man who did that to him. Would he have swung on a woman?
Who was what? Rubbing her pussy on his face?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
No, I think it's the degrading part when it's a man and his penis.
But again,
because
a woman wouldn't have the same luxury of getting up and starting to swing on him because they wouldn't have that type of power. A man would be like,
would do this
and just
huff and
like,
puff and just start punching you really hard.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna move on. We're gonna go on to another question I got for you. So the next question I got for you is, which of your exes would you give a second chance to?
Don't do that.
Before I let you answer, okay? I'm gonna repeat the question. I'll answer it myself. Which of your exes would you give a second chance to? Okay, and I have two answers to this.
Do I have to say names?
No,
I'm not saying names.
But I have two answers to this. My first one would be my first ever girlfriend, because you're so young, things happen, you're so childish, and I would like to have see my current self and their current self, how that could like flourish, or what can happen.
That's a good answer.
At such a young age, of course, like we have different preferences now, but as adults, I kind of would like to kind of revisit that, and I have the same kind of feeling of like. Kind of like a reboot. You watch a show when you're younger, and then like you see the reboot when you're older. It's like, oh, this is like this. I like this, but in a different way, So that's my first like cheating answer, because it's technically, it's my first ever one. There's no trauma there. There's like no trauma that lingered pretty much there. It's just something you go through as a young kid.
How old?
I was like 14.
Maybe
like 13. 14 is giving it like,
because that girl's not the same.
Exactly, and I'm not the same person either.
Yeah.
And my second one, which would be my real one, I think there was a relationship I got in towards the end of college, and it was like a point of like I wasn't happy with myself at that time. She was bad as fuck. Like she was very attractive, but I didn't treat her like the as bad bitch that she was. Like I didn't treat her as a person. I didn't treat her as like how she should have been treated. No, and I said that correctly. I didn't treat her as a person, because I was like probably the most selfish person ever, and I only thought I was the only person on this planet, pretty much. Yeah. And I think she was toxic in her own ways, where like she was fucking crazy, quote unquote. But I think she actually was crazy, just undiagnosed. But I'm gonna stop using crazy as a descriptive term. But if I could do it over. Again, as I am now, it would like not mean a lot to me, but it would mean like, okay, I'm not that person. Yeah. I truly never was that person. I was just unhappy with like the circumstances I was in. Okay. So I think maybe just like a do-over, maybe not to make it up to them, but probably maybe more to like in a selfish way, make it up to myself of how I used to be like.
It's good that you can self-reflect and be like, I was an asshole.
Yeah, I was. Yeah. Definitely, I definitely ran through like 3 different girls in that era, so I'm sorry to every single one of you.
If I had to choose, I like your answer, so I'm gonna copy that.
Which one, the first one or the second one?
The first one. I would choose someone who probably I spoke to and probably had a really good connection with, but it didn't go anywhere. And yeah, I don't know who specifically, but whoever was out there, and we had a good connection, and I just dropped you or ghosted you. Or you ghosted me, whatever the fuck it was. Hopefully we can make that work.
So there's a second.
And then the second answer I have for you would be the serious answer. The one
there was a second answer.
The one I would have answered before you give me your answer.
Okay.
It would be my most recent ex. Love her to death, bro. Like, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Fell in love.
Yeah.
We were together for a very long time.
First real love or just first or not your first love, you think?
It's hard to explain because a lot of the times when I've been in relationships, right, I truly believe I am in love while I'm in them. I believe it, and I wholeheartedly think I am, and I agree with everything. But then when you're out of it, you're like, oh, that wasn't love.
Okay.
A lot of times
could have been love at the time, or just as you reflect on it, it's not love.
For sure, it could have been a certain type of love, but it definitely wasn't in love. Like, as much as I thought I was in love with these people until like my most recent relationship or my most recent breakup where I truly felt like someone loved me for me. Mm-hmm. Like, there was no added anything. It was just two people who got along very well and loved spending time with each other, who would always laugh, who would always have a good time. But again, we broke up for a reason. Right? If I could take back all the bad that happened between us and make things work, I absolutely would. I wish no ill will to that person. I wish nothing but the best, but we didn't work. And I know why we didn't work. And in this dream scenario, if I could make it work, absolutely. Yeah. In a heartbeat, I would make it work. But I know, like you said, I know crazy when I see it, and I know myself. I know that I was also not at the greatest mind space when I was with this person, right? And am I a better person now? Absolutely. And is she a better person now?
Probably.
Hopefully. Right? I don't know. I don't speak to her anymore. But yeah, we bonded very well. And also, it was during the COVID times, trauma bond bonded, also, yeah. We connected on a level that I don't think I ever will with anybody in my life. I think that person I think that person will always hold such a special place in my heart, but it just didn't work. We were too toxic for each other, and shit just happened.
Piggybacking off that specific answer, is there ever an appropriate time to get back with your ex? Ever?
Yes. Okay. I do believe it. There is an appropriate time.
Just in generic terms.
Me? No, yeah, I'm good.
Now, let's specific. Is there ever, you think,
for me,
I
think I'm good.
Okay.
I think I'm good.
You're like, loved it. Glad it happened.
I cherish every moment I've had with every one of the people that I shared my, because you need to understand, when you do start having a girlfriend or a partner, right, you're sharing a lot of your life with this person for a very long period of time. And of course, I loved every single person that did share that time with me, unless you were a bitch. You know who the fuck you are, and you abused me emotionally and physically. You know who the fuck you are.
Dumb bitch. I know exactly who he's talking
about. But yeah, I have love for everyone who shared a moment of time with me. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a lot to deal with, bro. I'm not perfect, and I know, especially growing up, I wasn't perfect. I feel like I am the best version of myself currently, and I continue to strive for improvement. But yeah, do I think it's good to get with your ex in circumstances? Yeah. For me, no. I'm good. I don't want anybody. I don't want to. Not never, but I think I'm okay with being single.
What the results?
I'm okay with everyone who I ended things with, or they ended things with me. I think all those ships have sailed, and I'm okay with that. Like, I've come to terms with everybody who has left my life, or I've left their life, and I've been like, thank you for being in it, and I'm glad that you stayed for this amount of time, but obviously it didn't work.
Yeah.
Right? For other people, absolutely. If communication is there, you can make things work, and whatever was either making things not work prior or whatever was resolved, and you guys can communicate it and make things work now. Absolutely. There's love. The emotion love has endless possibilities, and if it can make a divorce not a divorce and make it work, absolutely. If you can go to therapy and make it work and get back with your ex, and then you're happily ever after, yeah, do it. I will never say no. But for me, I think I'm good on that. But for other people, if you think you can make it work, and you think that the communication is better, and that this time you guys both separated, matured, you guys are better people, and you guys can now come back together and actually make it work, do it. Go for it. I would never shit on anybody who goes back to their ex. I know what it's like.
Okay. Let's say, specifically, let's get real Pacific. it's been 10 years since you last dated this person. Life has happened, and life moves on, life goes on. If something were to happen where suddenly now you're both back in each other's lives.
Yeah.
And is that an appropriate amount of time to even consider getting back together or starting again or trying again?
That's the problem with me, though, is at least for all my other exes, no, I could spend time with any of them and I wouldn't have any feelings.
But let's say you went the 10 years without seeing each other at all, period.
No, I think
all of a sudden
it would bring it would that's the problem for me, is that especially with my last ex, there's so much good there and very little bad. The bad just didn't make us work, so we just didn't. That if in 10 years from now we did rekindle, I believe I would fall in love again.
Really?
Well, unless she's like a completely different person, but the person that I fell in love with,
good though?
Huh?
Isn't that good?
It's good and bad.
Like, what if you fall in love with this new person?
No, because I know myself.
You're going to be looking for the old person.
Not that I'm going to be looking for the other person. It's just that I love too hard and I forgive too easy. And I feel like there are just some things that you need to be able to be like, nah. Like, I did 100%. I tried. It didn't work. And there is no more try I can put into this unless either the person has changed or something in the situation has changed. And so, and that's why I just completely avoid contact. I don't do that because I'm dumb and I believe people. I'm forgiving. So whenever someone messes up and then they come back into my life and apologize and they want to be back in my life, I always take them back. And it's something that I had to learn to stop doing because I'd get fucked every time at the end.
Take her backer.
So even in 10 years, the amount, like when I tell you, like I've never been in love with somebody until like I actually felt that. And the reason I know that this is really in love, I've never felt this type of way for after being away from somebody for so long and still feel this type of way about them. You know what I'm saying? Like anybody else that I've been away with prior, even when it's been very long relationships, because I've had very long relationships even prior to her, it didn't feel like this. Like after a few, like time heals everything type shit. Like after a while, it's like, oh, I'm good. I feel nothing. Right. But with this person, it's like, oh, no, I do still think about good memories. I do think about.
Is it triggering in a way? So if I were to name drop the person right now, I'm not going to. But then
the anxiety in my body when you said that. I was like, oh.
That's what I was trying to see.
Definitely, yeah.
That's exactly what I was trying to see.
Yeah, there's still a lot of trauma for. Like I said, we trauma bonded, right? We connected on a level that I don't think I ever will with anybody. So there's always going to be that, like whenever she gets brought up or if I ever have to be around her again, there's always going to be that like heart sinking type of feeling. You know, like when you're on a roller coaster type shit, the anxiety all comes back, all the feelings rush back. And that's why I just stay away.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
It happens to me, but I thought I was over it. Hearing you explain your experience and how, and it's like, yeah, there's still something there. There's like not like you're in love, but like there's a
possibility that you can fall in love with.
Like there's a positive feeling, but then like hearing me say like, yo, if I just name dropped her right now, you're like, oh, anxiety.
Yeah.
And so hearing you like being self-aware about that and being like this is what I'm dealing with. This is what I'm working with.
Yeah.
And then me hearing you feel like, oh, like, you know, I get a gut wrenching reaction or I get this and that. And I'm like, I feel the same way, but I thought I was over it. I thought I was like,
you probably are. I mean, I'm not. It's not that I'm not over it.
No, I know that it's not over. Like, but I thought that I just moved.
You have no feelings,
and then no feelings, and like no like.
And you're like, oh, maybe I do still feel things.
And then like, because I'm like because I could think about other people I've seen that way too. Like, it's not anything specific, but like, there's points in your explanation that you were giving, and I was like, I feel the same way, kind of. Oh, definitely that part. And then it's like, but in my own circumstances, so I think.
So if I had to meet her specifically in 10 years, would it make us get back together? Unless she's a completely different person, like can't even recognize her, if there's still glimpses of the person that I fell in love with, I would absolutely fall in love with again. That's why I stay away. Because I know myself and I know that I don't deserve to do that to myself. Because I've done it to myself a lot. And I feel like I deserve better.
See, I haven't done that before. I haven't gone back to somebody, but I feel the same exact way.
It's humbling. It's very humbling.
I feel the same way about you. I stay away so I don't have to go through.
Yeah, it's very humbling. Because whenever you give somebody else another chance or someone else gives you another chance, right, and then you can't live up, you will, if someone else is giving you another chance, you will never live up to that person's pedestal that they put you on because of
previously.
If you fuck up and then that person gives you another chance, the pedestal is so much higher.
I knew.
You're gonna get that a lot, and it's something that I don't like to do, but I'm guilty of it. Right? I'm human. I do feel emotions. I do get sad. I do get angry, and sometimes I do bring things up from the past as much as I wish I didn't. And yeah,
damn,
it happens. So that's why I don't. It's not healthy for me to take someone back because I know myself. I know that I will do that as much as I don't want to, and I don't want to throw someone's mistakes and someone's like past at them. I know what it's like to be like, dude, I've changed. I want to be different. Like I'm not that same person. And someone keeps throwing it. I know what it's like to do that, and I never want to do it to somebody. So I just choose to stay away. And if I am choosing to take somebody back, I got to be 100% convicted in that. I can't then question it after I've already made the choice and then make that person feel like shit for me giving them a chance. It's not fair to them.
So we're going to jump to the next clip.
Go for it.
It says,
it's a bunch of
cocky
fights.
Dude gets rocked in front of the entire school. So, and the reason why they're fight clips, I just wanted to mix emotion with violence.
Wait, I want to listen.
That's why I put it up, but it's not playing. So
this reminds me of a lot of like school fights that I went through.
I hit the full fucking screen. I wanted to mute this. Can you move your water bottle so I can see the icon?
Right here.
I can't see it whatsoever. I can't. Your headphones are in the way. Oh, I just fucking.
No, you got it. That's it. No, you just put the volume on. Now it's muted.
Escape. Thank God. I wanted to watch it without the audio. So he pushes him.
Yeah.
Walk up to him.
Stupid idea. Stupid idea.
So you think
people do it a lot.
Punch first, no push.
People do that. You can use it to your advantage.
Getting
pushed? People will push you, and you can absolutely get a hit in.
Right here, like this guy just did. Just fucking.
He's smart.
Boom. Yo.
This kid is so dumb. Not only did he push him, he walked up to him unprepared.
No guard, right?
Yeah, hands straight to the floor. Nothing, bro.
Arthur meme. He's the Arthur meme.
What is that kid doing, bro? Why would you do that?
And then look, he calm demeanor because he knew he was a beast. Oh my God! Look at this face of realization. It's all blurry, but he's just like realized something. And then first of all, let's talk about his fit. No drip, either of them. But jeans high as fuck.
No, he pulled them up before you see him doing it. He pulled his pants up during the fight. See?
Oh, that's his underwear, not his belt. Boom, gets rocked. Red shoes, by the way. Punched. I think he missed.
Oh, that guy, the backpack boy, can't fight either.
It's not because of the backpack, because that first punch was crazy.
No, the first punch got him.
Yeah.
But every punch after,
once in a million hit. You think?
No, not once in a million. You can probably get that a lot if someone walks up to you with no.
Missed it.
But this shit blows my mind. It happens in every street fight that you see. I don't know why just turn your hand. Why are you punching people with this side of your fist?
Oh, you want?
They're doing this bullshit. Everyone does this. And all you're doing is hurting yourself doing that. Use the bones that your arm's providing, bro.
You barely got a knuckle on your pinky.
And he does it. He's only hurting himself every punch here, bro.
Boom.
Because it's the back of this guy's head. It's the same thing that I said earlier. You're putting one of the softest...
This is how you know you lost a fight, when your skin is showing.
It's bad when you're on the ground and the person above you is just beating your ass. It's not a good look.
Right
Especially at school, where everybody just watch you get your ass beat. That's not a good look.
Right here, this is the biggest ego death of all time.
Yeah.
Ego is hurting. Ego's bleeding.
Everyone ran to the dude that fucked you
and they're like, and he's like, no, I'm going to keep fighting. Look how close he is.
He probably would have had a chance
if he just swung right here instead of pushing. He's like, let me give you some distance.
Not even. If he would have pushed him and then walked up with his hands up, he probably wouldn't have gotten his ass rocked so hard.
Pushed him, lifted up his pants one time. He's like,
right here.
He
flinched. You see how much time? Yeah. This kid obviously doesn't know how to fight because he jumps. But then he sees the opportunity and he takes it full. He's like, I'm about to get in a fight, I should probably swing as hard as I possibly can, and it drops him.
Bang! Millie Rock
dropped. He full scorpions. That's how hard he hit him. That he falls down to his knees.
Knees are bent. Just bro, his thighs and his calves touch.
This is what everyone does in a street fight, right? They go for that, and then they start doing the hammer fist to the sides of the face or the back of the head.
So, this is what I think his thought process would be. Maybe this hurts if I club him like this.
There is a technique called a hammer fist. So hammer fist, but when you're doing that, you're using the hard part of your body to mush someone's soft part of their face, right? You're breaking you're breaking a nose, you're breaking lips, you're hitting eyes, right? When people in MMA are doing ground and pounds, right? They're in front of you doing this, right? You're getting fucked up. Like the most guard you can do is this.
Can we pause?
Yeah.
You just said the way this guy punched.
Yeah.
You're using your soft part on hard stuff. You just pounded your leg, and it sounded like you were just fucking. It sounded like you went boom, boom. Like,
well, yeah, because it's called the hammer fist. You can, but that's because
that was the right way to do it.
Yeah,
and it sounded like you just demolished your kneecap.
No. So, well, I also hit the hardest part of my knee.
I know that's what.
If I would have hit like
your thigh,
a thigh, it would have been. It would have hurt me a lot more. But when you're doing this, right? If you're hitting squishy parts, you're only benefiting. You're putting all the weight of your hands into someone's face. It's gonna hurt. But he's hitting him in the back of the head. You're not winning that. A skull needs so much pounds of pressure to break. You doing this to a skull, you're gonna break your hand before you break a skull. So that's why in every street fight, when someone is turned over and hunched over, don't swing at the back of their head. Either let them get up, or if you're gonna do something, kick them, or do something where you're not gonna hurt yourself when they're down.
Everybody's like, oh, they're getting hyped. They're all yelling as loud as they can.
Yeah.
We heard the original audio. This guy right here walking by, he's like, I gotta get to class right here. He's like, I gotta get to class. Then he turns around. He's like, damn. He's like, shit. Let's watch this guy right here. He's like, he takes a step back after he lands that initial punch. This guy right here. He's like, what? Like,
have you been in like high school fights like this or
not? I've been the guy that's watching. Of
course.
You've
been the guy.
And it's
never
always
been there?
more violent when it's a girl. It's always
girls are way more violent.
So crazy.
Men are violent because we use closed fists, but girls pull hair. They try to stab you. They do not care, bro.
This guy's like, ooh. He's like, covered his mouth. He's like, oh shit. He's like, yeah.
I would have made the same if someone folded after one hit,
bro.
I would have made the same. That's what I'm saying.
Not even one hit. The first hit.
I would have made the same face.
Cocky as fuck. He definitely is cocky. He definitely licked his lips. He's like, yo, you bitch. Boom. He's like, damn.
But didn't I say that earlier? A lot of people who street fight do this. That's the chest out. You a bitch, right? And until you get dropped like this, you don't stop doing that. And now that I bet you any fight that he's been in prior to this, he don't do that. He put his hands up immediately.
Yeah.
Because he knows he gets dropped. It's embarrassing when you're the one talking all this shit and then you get dropped.
This is the last fight clip that I've got loaded up, but I just think
it seems like you want to learn how to fight. I can teach you.
No. I don't. I told you I wanted to do this for cardio. Me and VJ was like, we should do boxing as cardio instead of running, and I thought it would be a good idea to buy one of the. Just one of the bags, and just because I have my gloves already for that same exact purpose. But and then you were like, you gotta wrap your hands so you don't do one of these. And then I saw it in real life. He did.
I mean, you could use your wraps, but all the protection that's supposed to be in the glove, you're gonna feel it. So all the padding of the thing, you'll feel it, and then you'll feel your hand hitting his face because there won't be a wrap.
So what you're saying is,
your wrist won't get hurt.
I
if you
need
use it.
to buy wraps to practice boxing, but to also have them just on me at all times in case I get into a fight.
No, I said I would do that. Now that I've boxed for a long time.
Yeah, no, but now that I've watched these fights clips,
like, because back then I've been in these types of fights, school fights. It's never, at least for me, it's never been like, oh, it's happening now. It's always like, meet me outside at this time, meet me after school, right? And if I'd known,
your fight, like if they scheduled the fight,
it was after, but it was only after but before boxing, I would just fight, and I'd always hurt my hands. But then once I learned how to box, I was like, damn, I should really carry around wraps with me, so that if I do get in a fight, I could just wrap my hands up. But then again, it never, like, anytime I did get into a fight, I didn't have them on me, so it was useless. I never got to use them unless I was actually in the ring.
Bro, if I was in high school and I schedule a fight, right? I'm like, yo, after school, we're gonna fight.
Yeah.
And the kid comes in wrist and like hand wraps. I'm like, I'm going home.
I remember someone.
I'm sorry. Go home.
I remember like it was literally like combat gear for me. Like I would, if someone challenged me to a fight, I'd be like, oh, say less. I'd go home. I'd go like put sweats on. I'm like, I'm gonna be comfy. If I'm fighting, I'm gonna put sweats on, and then I put like combat boots on, like Docs or Tim's, because I know if you're on the ground, I'm kicking you, right? And then I'd bring wraps, and I'd be like, oh, okay, we're fighting. And all the time that I have done that, they've been like, nah, I don't want to fight you, or it's not even that serious.
Why'd you do that? Why'd you do all this? I'm like, why'd you waste my time?
And then I'm the type to be like, okay, and I just walk away and not fight because I'm like, I won't fight you unless I have to. I don't need to fight people for no reason.
Bro said I got my validation. You just backed out. It's good.
So yeah, I've been in a lot of these street fight bullshits. Like I remember growing up, I had a cousin named Tommy who would like the biggest mouth. Talk so much shit, bro, and then he would make me fight his battle because he was small and I was the bigger one. And then I've gotten in a few fights by myself. I remember the last street fight that I've been in, it was like middle school. Some guy who was like...
Guy or some kid?
I guess he was a kid at the time, right? Because it was my freshman year of high school, and it was his last year of middle school. And I was...
Did you go to a middle high school?
No, it's two separate ones. I was a freshman in high school, and he was in middle school with my cousin at the time who passed away a few years ago. And I was going to the middle school to pick up my cousin after school. So I go to the middle school, and I'm like, yo, what's up, whatever. And then the guy, me and him have always had beef even before. And he recently like did something very like disgusting to like one of my female friends. And I told him like, yo, if I see you, I'm gonna beat your ass. And then I saw him, but I was like, it's not worth it, right? I was like, it's not worth it. Like, I'm here to pick up my cousin. What am I to just start a fight in front of him and shit like that? So I was like, whatever, I'm not doing that. And then he tested the gangster. He did the chest out, like, oh, you pussy.
You're pussy.
You said it was on site if you saw me, blah, blah, blah.
I'm on the site.
So he did that type of shit. And I was like, well, now I have to hit you because you're testing my gangster. And if I don't, then I'm the bitch.
Were you boxing at this time?
Yeah, this is way after. And he like, I forget what happened, but in the midst of the whole thing, I hit him once, broke his nose. Like he fell on the floor because his nose was broken.
He hit one of these?
No, but I didn't hit a haymaker. I hit a jab. So a haymaker or whatever the fuck, like that, or a hook. That's a hook. That's that way. No, that's a haymaker.
That's a haymaker? Why?
So the difference between a hook and a haymaker.
Comes.
So a haymaker is all of this. A hook is from here, and you're turning your body into it. So you're doing one of these, and then a jab is just straight, right? So the haymaker is probably the easiest thing to dodge. That's why in that other fight you saw him just
because it loads.
It's the most telegraphed fight. Yeah, it's the most telegraphed thing. So. He walked up to me and I jabbed him quick, like just pow, hit him in the nose because it only takes 2 pounds of pressure to break a nose, and it's easy to break a nose. So then he's on the floor bleeding, and then I go like to keep hitting him, and then one of his boys jumps on me and then starts hitting me, and I'm on the ground like the fetal position shit, and I'm like, damn, bro, this guy got hands, because I'm out here like getting hit like a lot, like it's like. And I'm like, bro, this guy got hands. Like, I'm getting hit a lot, and I look up and there's like 2 dudes hitting me, and I'm like, oh, makes sense now. And then like they broke it up, and then like, it just that's it.
What the fuck
happened?
It was
literally that. It was
like his nose was just broken.
Yeah, his nose broke, and then like he told everyone like because there was like blood in the hallway from fighting, and that blood didn't. Like, people kept sending me pictures of dry blood in the hallway, like they haven't cleaned it yet, for like weeks after, and he kept telling everyone like, oh, like he sucker punched me, and I was like, bro, come on, like what type of accuracy or long arm do you think I have to turn and curve my hand and hit you straight on the nose and break it? Like, what type of monster do you think I am? Like, I can't do that. Like, you got hit fair and square, bro.
You walked up to me and I jabbed you in the face.
Yeah, that's the last street fight I've ever been in my life. Damn. I've been in a lot of fights.
You jab with your left.
Yeah. No, I jab with both.
No, but
it's
like
just
at the time,
the quicker jab. No, it was my right. It's because if you want more power, you use your dominant hand. If I want my jab to hurt more, I'd use my right. If I want speed, I hit left.
All the time.
Yeah. Because I can whip that out way faster.
All right. Last question before we wrap up the show. What is one thing most people don't know about you?
I don't know, man. I would
Get
say
close with the audience, Fabian.
I would say back then it would be like, oh, I really liked anime and like, I'm actually a fucking giant nerd. But everyone knows that about me now. But back then, no, people didn't. People just assumed I was like this cool, like mysterious dude because I didn't speak to nobody. But I was just a fucking weird kid who
loser.
had
like, damn, nobody's
social anxiety. Yeah, it was just a weird kid who had social anxiety. What would people not know but just looking at me? I don't know. Most people who meet me are very, like when I have like new workers or new trainees, they immediately say that I'm very scary at first. Like I'm an intimidating person, but that once you speak to me, like I'm a teddy bear, like I'm a gummy bear, like I'm a really sweet person.
Did you say gummy bear?
Yeah, you know.
Damn.
Like you're sweet, like you're huggable, like you're a sweet person.
Gummy bear.
If it doesn't come off that I'm a sweet person, that's the most thing I get. That I'm nice or sweet, and they're like, oh, it seems like
this big age breaking the noses.
That wasn't a big age. I was also middle schooler or a freshman.
You were a freshman.
But yeah, I guess that would be mine if I had any. You've met me a few years ago? What was your impression of me before you met me, and then after you met me, and what was like the biggest misconception that you had of me?
Misconception.
Or if you even had any, or maybe
no,
if you had an opinion that you then
I knew everything
changed.
of who you were, just by being
my
told.
cousin.
Yeah. Just every single thing that he said about you was true. The past and the current version of you, and then what I've known of you firsthand. So like oh, this is my cousin. We go way back. We did this. Like my brother is the same age as his brother, and like so we were like kind of like brothers but cousins. And then all that, and then hearing about you, and then finally being virtually introduced, like playing PlayStation, and then when physically introduced, I'm like, it's all just been like on point pretty much, I think.
Because even Christian and BJ said that I don't look like anything they thought I looked like. Christian was like, oh, you look I picture something completely different. Yeah. And then BJ also told me that.
You're
I was
nerd.
Like, really?
You're a nerd. You like anime, you like Star Wars.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, people
pictured you as the tall, skinny,
weird guy,
weird glasses wearing guy.
Yeah, the weird one. So that would have been my, but I feel like people know me enough now, and I speak about myself more openly on the podcast. So if I had to pick one, that would be it. It's the fact that I look like a really mean guy from far away, but I'm actually. I mean, I used to be a really.
I get the same thing too.
I was a very like. I have a resting bitch face.
And then be like,
whatever.
Somebody knows me. Hey, I'm like, hey, what's up?
Yeah,
and then
literally.
They're like, bro, you look like pissed off from like all the way over there. I'm like, I'm just.
So that's it. That's what I got.
A banger of a Night of Talk episode. Pretty fucking long. Let's look at the time. 2 hours and 17 minutes. 2 hours, 17, the longest one to date. So I'm going to give you one thing and one thing only, Out of Talk listeners. Click the link in the episode show notes. It is directly to the Out of Talk YouTube channel. Pull up to that. Pull up, watch the shorts, watch the clips, and I'm going to
subscribe.
Let Fabian end
Put the bell on.
Ding.
And you didn't say that. You got to say that.
Ding.
No, you gotta tell them to subscribe.
I just said I was gonna kick it over to you to finish.
All right, well, Idle Talk. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We're posting clips on TikTok again. I saw. Make sure to follow us on TikTok. We need our views up because TikTok be doing us foul.
In my emails. Better luck next time with your 99 likes.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the bell icon so you get notifications when we post. And yeah. That's it for today.
Listen to the minis.
We have been your gracious hosts, Nando and Fabian. Bye-bye.
Peace.